freight train keeps a rolling. On down to San Antonio. On down to San Antonio. When I was just a baby, my mama told me, son, always be a good boy. Don't ever play with guns.
Hello everybody, and welcome to Long Pond, Pennsylvania here for the TIG Strong 200 from Pocono, the Tricky Triangle, a track which needs no introduction to most oval fans around the world, one of the most unique ovals in the United States, and one that will challenge every single one of the drivers on hand for tonight. Quick look at the track overview. It's a 2.5 mile triangle. You call it a hash brown if you wanted. It's hash brown shaped, 3 distinct corners, 3 different bankings, and 3 different unique straightaways. It's going to be an overcast day. The sun not playing friends with us tonight. And the wind not really either. Thanks for being here with us. As always, I'm Kristina Ryan. Alongside me is Carmen, Sienna, and Carmen. It is going to be a very exciting day today. But what are we looking forward to most here from a race from Pocono?
This is gonna be a pretty magical race. If it was anything like what we had last season, based on the overcast skies, it could be even more intense than last season based on the cooler track temperatures we've got so far tonight. Very competitive. Very easy to get runs. Obviously, you talk about the 3 different long straightaways. All of them are long enough to generate runs and passes through. But it's compromised because the track is so unique and so different all throughout. Turn 1, turn 2, turn 3. You can get 2 of them right, but there's going to be one you're going to miss out on somehow, somewhere. Obviously, the 3 different straightaways. This is a 2.5 mile track, the same length as Indianapolis, as Daytona. This is a very long track. Lap times are going to represent that. 53-second laps, the average here at Pocono Raceway in these cars. We had a 4-wide run for the lead, going down the Long Pond straightaway into turn 3 on the final lap last season. That was in the playoffs. Again, hotter temperatures, sun was out, track tip was very slippery, very slick. Now everyone's got a little bit more grip. Everyone's going to be able to be a little bit more bold, and we have more cars tonight. We had about 25-ish cars. We are going to have 36 tonight. It's going to be a lot of elbows out racing. But this track's got enough space where you can do that here.
Yeah, and with 1 minute left in practice before we get into that single car qualifying, as you mentioned in the pre-race show, a lot of replacement drivers, a couple of drivers probably going home tonight. So there's a lot of things to keep tabs on. Of course, we had an exciting race. I unfortunately wasn't there for at Homestead, but we have some info to catch up on there. Carmen, why don't you get us all up to speed on what happened last week in the Sunshine State?
Last week's race was interesting, to say the least. Caitlin Height getting her first win of the season. Sort of like what we saw last season, where it took her 3 races to get into victory lane. Did that again last week, winning at Homestead, putting her second all-time in the HTL win list, right behind the great Dustin Hall. So Caitlin Height, far and away the winningest driver that's active in this series. So that's going to be very exciting. That race was very much a strategy game all the way through. As you see on the backstretch, a lot of cars
on the Long Pond, yeah.
Yeah, time definitely is expiring there. Kalen Hite, Josh Gaiman, and John Hagan were the podium finishers. Wadsworth was fourth, Bryn Roberts was fifth. So all five of them had a really good points day. That being said, it was more premised on the strategy game last week than we had, or what we're expecting to have this week here at Pocono. You definitely had to think forward a lot on your pit strategy. Here, you'll be able to kind of race it out a little bit more with how large and expansive this race track is. Drivers that did not have a good race last time out. Blake Henderson, worst race of his career, 32nd after qualifying 21st. He didn't have a good time. Neither did Hunter Peach, who should be able to rebound here tonight. Both of them have finished at the very bottom of the order. So that'll be interesting to see. And it'll also be interesting to see 12 drivers trying to qualify for 4 uncharted spots in this race. That's going to be a very narrow window to have to fit into. Top 12 was where they needed to be at Homestead last week.
Yeah, absolutely. So that timer, of course, not quite accurate, but we are into qualifying officially now. Waiting for the drivers to start to line up on the front stretch. Again, if this is your first time with us here for HTL competition, it is 1x1 single car qualifying with the exception of the road courses where they have group qualifying. Obviously, Pocono is an oval, so we will be seeing 1x1 every driver go out. Which means get comfy, because we're going to be seeing a lot of interesting lines, and we're definitely going to see some mistakes, Carmen. It's so easy to screw up around this track by yourself, let alone in a pack. So I think there's quite a few people, especially those that are maybe on the cut line here trying to make the race. Someone's going home with a wrecked race car.
Yeah. The margins are very small here in the HTL Cup Series. The margin to make it in just last week, again, last week's a good comparison, was less than 200ths. I believe it was 19 milliseconds. And that track's not easy by any stretch of the imagination with how tight that car was. It's going to be just as tight here tonight, especially with over 40 cars trying to qualify for 36 spots. Again, 8 cars going home. It's a matter of which ones. And there's a lot of drivers that looked strong last week that do not look strong tonight.
Yeah, we have 12 uncharted entries fighting for those spots, including Callie Height, Tommy Withers, Seth Wanzing, Caleb Eichler, Joel Rodriguez, William Britton, Kevin Feemster. There's a name we haven't heard a whole lot in HTL, but we know he's quick from ABN competition. John Adams, Jason Kraft, Brandon Proudfoot, Austin Mongold, and Blake Galloway. We also have several fill-in drivers, so if you see a name on there and go, why are these guys on here? They don't seem like they've raced before. They have fill-ins with the charters, those drivers being TJ Allen, Hunter Whitlock, though we know him, Estep, Santiago, Nathan Lehman, and Bobby Blowers. Looking to turn things around, not high up in the points right now, has not been a great start to his season, Carmen.
No, it is not. He is... He's had a very rough go of it to start off this season, and he's not the only one. So, you look through this, and obviously getting ready for qualifying here. I believe Austin Mongold will be the first driver to run, making his debut here tonight for the 38 Uncharted. That team's going to have 2 cars try to make the field. 1 car locked in with Jeremy Breo in the 88. Austin Mongold looking to join him in that 38. He'll be the first one out making that debut.
Absolutely. We'll see what he can do as he heads down the Long Pond straightaway. Again, we'll bring up the track map here just to show. Well, it doesn't seem like it wants to cooperate with us, but headed down that second of 3 straightaways. Now into the tunnel turn, as it's been aptly named. Fun little fact, back in the day, they used to be able to come in here with their Indianapolis setups because that corner is modeled after Indianapolis, and it would be a pretty nice baseline for these teams as they worked on their Pocono setups. Not quite the case anymore. Of course, with the repave in 2011, really changed the dynamics of the track to the point that's not very much of an effective idea. But we'll see what Austin Mongold has for us here as he takes the start-finish line to start his one and only lap of qualifying here.
And that's a very important denotion out of that. On anything outside of road courses and short ovals, it's just 1 lap for qualifying.
Mm-hmm.
That makes it a lot harder of a situation to make up there.
Especially with how unique each corner on this track is. If you mess one up, you don't get another chance. So there's going to be a very large parity, I think, in the leaderboard. There's going to be a lot of drivers that are doing a lot better It's not going to be one of those deals where everybody's separated by a couple hundredths. We're going to see tenths, maybe a second or two between the top and the bottom of the leaderboard, because even if you make a mistake, you need to finish your lap, because you still could make the show with it. We're going to see a lot of that tonight.
Austin Mongold will complete the first lap here, 53.91. Not the quickest lap, but he's going to find out quickly. He's going to find out quickly if he's going to be in or not, because all the drivers at the very bottom or at the very top of the qualifying order didn't qualify last week.
Caleb Eichler on track now in the number 45 machine, still trying to make a good show of it. Texas native. Another one of those drivers that has not had a great start. Missed Daytona. Struggles to kind of make the field in some of these races lately, but hoping to turn things around tonight. The number 45.
He was the driver that just missed out at Homestead by 19 milliseconds. It was between him and William Britton. And that was 12th and 13th. So he qualified well on his own, but because there's so many charters and only so few unchartered entries, that was where the margin was between 12th and 13th last week. It was rough.
Which is a shame, because it was a really good lap, an uncharacteristically good lap from Eichler to put into the top 15. We usually see him a lot lower, but this time around he's 200ths off of Mongold and will be second of two cars. Tommy Withers is up next in the number 6 machine, the man who raced his way into the Daytona 300.
I don't know if he didn't race last week or he failed to qualify. I feel like he failed to qualify last week, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, still an unchartered car, so has to qualify in every week, so very likely that that's what happened.
Yeah, we had so many uncharted cars last week, and everyone was expecting, maybe the uncharted cars would start to die down a little bit. Again, we had 12 sign up for this race. Not everyone showed up. Jason Kraft, Kevin Beamster, I don't think are here. At least I don't believe they're here. They're not showing up on my screen. So let's say we may have 10 going for 4 spots, but that's still 6 cars going home for a track that people are pretty polarized on. Some people love Pocono, some people just hate it. Still showing up and showing out here as Withers comes out of turn 3.
Yeah, I saw Eichler on the access road, the runoff there, and as Withers comes across the line, it's going to be slowest of all 3 by some margin. You could hear he was pedaling it a bit through that tunnel turn, not having the greatest of times. See what John Adams can do in the 76 rather. Caterpillar Ford Mustang.
It's a shame that Presidential Racing is not in HTL but in ARCS instead, because John Adams would fill it in nicely in that team. For those that understand U.S. history, you'll get the joke.
I'm sure we got it, Carmen. It's U.S. history. How exciting could it be?
I don't get to make puns very often. Let me use my failed college degree.
Hey, look, oil. Out of the tunnel turn, we'll see what Adams can do. Headed down the short chute. 3 different straightaways here, aptly named the front stretch, the Long Pond straightaway, and the short chute. Short chute being the smallest of the 3. And Adams goes fastest of all by about a half a second, so nicely done. That lap may be good enough to get him in the show if things stay the way they are.
Now.
See what Brandon Proudfoot can do. Number 50 machine. Well, number 20 machine, rather. All the musical chairs on the timing giving us exciting things to deal with tonight on the
way to call
SDK.
it, yeah.
Proudfoot's, we saw a lot of strength out of Proudfoot already last season. Seems fairly strong this season when he does make the races. So I would say, even though it's not a chartered driver, look for Proudfoot to maybe be a sleeper in the playoffs come that time. He's one of those drivers that really came to life last year. A little bobble there in turn 3. See if that's going to hurt him too much. But every time he makes the show, he's definitely a threat to win the race. So we'll see what he can do. That little bobble may have cost him, but no, it didn't. He does go fastest of all. So if Adams is safe, Proudfoot definitely looking pretty good right now. Blake Galloway will be up next in the number 5 machine.
Speaking of drivers that are in cars that do not match the numbers we were given, this one, from the 51 to the 5.
Yeah. Although it does have the 5 on the car at least, so we got that going for us. But yeah, the graphics are going to be a bit silly. Bobby Blowers looks like he'll be the next one to turn a lap after Galloway finishes his lap. Again, disregard the timer on qualifying there. Not really sure what SDK thinks is happening, but we have plenty of time in qualifying, but the order of positioning is correct. Live TV, everybody. Across the line for Galloway, it's going to be 3rd fastest. Not too bad. You see Blowers in the background. Number 96 filling in for McDonald. Again, Blowers, since filling in for McDonald, is going to have a charter, so he's going to be safely in the show, if I'm not mistaken.
Is correct. Yep.
So, for the first time all season, not really has to worry too much about what happens. And with that touch to the wall, I think that's a very good thing he has a charter, because his lap's going to be disallowed there, and you only get the 1. So, if it wasn't for that charter, he'd be going home right now and struggling a lot as he almost catches the wall out of turn 2 as well. There could be some damage to the right side of that machine. See if it was a little bit of net code or an actual wall tap. Seems like he's still committed to finishing the lap at least, so we'll see if it counts, but locked in the show regardless, the number 96. Yeah, that lap will not count. Hunter Peach will be up next. You'll probably see him in the background. He's a bit further back, actually. Here he comes in the number 1 machine. Very talented young lad. We've seen a lot of great things out of him. One-time winner in the season finale last season. See what the number 1 machine can do. Also locked in, by the way. Not a go or go homer. We still have several of them to go. But I guess Hunter Peach absent last week. So gets the
Peach didn't have a good finish last week. Peach finished 35th.
So that answers that. See if he can turn things around. And into the wall, so he will not. But again, another charter driver. We talked about this a minute ago, Carmen. We're going to see people making mistakes, and that's our first real big wreck of the afternoon in qualifying, and it's Hunter Peach out of qualifying. So, Moutre.
Being a little bit over-ambitious.
Yeah, it seems like he got tight condition, pushing just a touch too hard into turn 2, and if you lose the apex in the tunnel turn, you never really get it back. So, unfortunate for him, but again, in the show, so we'll have to be doing some work from the back, but is at least going to be able to have an opportunity. Ryan Moutre up next, another charter driver. So as of right now, if I'm not mistaken, I believe Proudfoot, Adams, Galloway, and Mongold are safe. Because is it 4 or 5 go or go homers?
That's what we're trying to figure out right now. Because right now, like by default, it's 4. But if a charter car doesn't make it, obviously they fill it with the next uncharted car.
So we know, at least as it stands, Proudfoot, Adams, Galloway, and Mongold are, no matter what, obviously at
right
the
now
moment they're in. Eichler may get the tap, but again, there's still several go or go homers that still need to qualify.
William Britton, Joe Rodriguez, all of them need to go.
Moutre will be the first non-go or go homer to actually put a time on the board, and it's only going to be enough for 6 fastest. So the go or go homers are kind of bringing it. They're definitely, it shows that they need to put in good efforts. Here's Blake Henderson in a new coat of paint, at least to me. Not sure if he ran that one at Homestead, but
I didn't get to see much of it because he finished 32nd, 19 laps down last week.
Beautiful tessellation there on the number.
I know he's been working on that.
Yeah, tried to collaborate with me a little bit, but since I was collaborating with Judith Cooper to get that pattern, I actually ended up kind of being the middle woman and sending Blake towards Judith, and everything kind of worked out, and that car looks beautiful. But is it fast? That's the critical question. Henderson very hot and cold. Had a decent start to the season, but has kind of faltered off lately. Again, it's still early enough that you can change things, and a win changes everything, and we know he's capable of doing that in the right circumstances, but 25 car across the line, puts in a solid lap, going to be good enough for fourth fastest. Not too shabby from Boss Man, who actually paid somebody's wages so that they could actually make the race tonight. So, good guy Blake. Here's Alfred Denny in the 21 machine up next.
Next up on deck, it's Alfred Denny, who we're watching right now, then William Britton, who's just now beginning to roll onto the track for his qualifying run.
Who is a go-or-go-homer.
And then Callie Height right after that. Another go-or-go-homer.
Callie Height's qualified for every race bar Daytona.
Did not look good in practice. 29th fastest.
It's a really tough track. I wonder if she could dig something out. Of course, when your girlfriend's one of the fastest and the most winningest driver in HTL, it does help. You get a lot of good info from her, but there's a lot of things you can explain at Pocono, but there's so much that you just have to understand and do, and that comes with experience. She's had a few starts around here in court, so we'll see what she can do. Alfred Denny goes fourth fastest. And here comes Britton in the background to start his lap as a go-or-go-homer. See what the Oregon native can do for Brit fam. Another one of those drivers that started really cold, and we've seen so many flashes of brilliance out of him over the last season. Won a stage at one point. Big gambler when it comes to strategy, and it's really worked out in his favor more than once. Not the fastest by any means, but definitely has a big brain behind the wheel of that number 68 machine.
Absolutely.
It's going to take a little bit more than brain to qualify in, though. You need to be fast. So if he makes the show, look out for him to have a strong day, especially on a track with a lot of unknowns. It's kind of a wild card track, but he's going to have to get in the show first. Again, it's Proudfoot, Adams, Galloway, and Mongold, the top four, which we know that are safe right now. It's the top four guaranteed, and then maybe a few extras trickle in, but you'd want to be in that top four to be safe. Across the line for Britton, and he is going to take one of those spots away. Well done. He goes fourth fastest. Now here's
on the cut line.
On the cut line, but doing quite nicely with it. In the show as it stands. Callie Height up next for Queen's Design. English driver off into turn one. This is going to be one of those tracks that's really going to help her confidence if she does make it in. If not, it's going to be a really good learning experience, of course. But this is a tough track, and when you're a rookie, if you can qualify your way in on a track that's tough like this, it definitely feels good. That's why I'm really impressed with William Britton's lap time. To put that thing into fourth as it stands. And yeah, to your point, top four, all go or go home drivers. They're really getting the let out. They know that they need to push to make the show.
Absolutely. Callie Height out of turn three.
Didn't see anything terrible on that lap. Went a bit wide in turn three, but that could very well be by design, but it is not going to be enough to make the show.
Yeah, that's out.
Very far out. 10th of 11th fastest, unless there's a lot of people that don't show up. She will not make the show tonight, unfortunately. Jake Millsap up next in the 13 car.
Almost a battle of the convenience stores. You got Casey's, you got Sheets. All I'm missing now is like a Speedway and a UDF car. And we're about Midwestern as it gets.
Well, let's get a quick trip in there. Let's not leave North Carolina out of it.
Gotta get Bucky's in at some point.
Millsap was flying off into turn two. This could be a good lap for the number 13.
It could be a good lap, or he could have just burned it, yeah. It's going to be one of two things, either the Dustin Hall School of Qualifying or back of the field.
We'll have a look. if nothing else, that turn 2 is electric. See how 1 and 3 fared, though, because those are equally as important. But across the line, Millsap goes 6th fastest, so really not too bad, but I expected he'd be a little higher up. Must have had a little bit of an issue in turn number 3 there. Seems like that's the one that's been biting drivers. Turn 2, people get tight, and if you get through turn 2, it looks like turn 3, maybe there's not enough tire there, and the cars kind of struggle just a little bit. Here's Nathan Estep in the 90.
I think this is one of those tracks you just need to be a lot more tidy, I think. Like, use up as much of the racetrack as you can, but you don't want to be sawing at the wheel. And I think that's one of the big concerns there is drivers sawing at the wheel.
Well, it's hard to do, too. Because keep in mind, this is the rack and pinion steering, right? So it's a lot more, I guess, not fun to drive as a driver. It's a lot harder to be smooth because the car is disconnected so much from the steering wheel. Unlike it used to be, it's so difficult to not have it squirm around on you. So it's just one of those things that really, really bites. But he's got that thing tampered down really nicely. This could be a decent lap. They looked clean, but as you mentioned, tidy laps matter here. Is it going to be enough to go to the top of the charts? Not quite, but a solid top 5, yeah. Again, you know, very tidy lap, solid. Nothing to complain about there. But Proudfoot still at the top of the leaderboard. Here comes Matthew Boone, Season 2 champ. Happily carrying the Monster banner again. One of the longtime sponsorship partners we've seen throughout HTL's seasons. Dating back even before we started broadcasting HTL events.
Yeah.
Matthew Boone and Monsters like Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Budweiser. You just can't separate those two. Until you go to Hendrick, but you know, whatever.
Or Dane Hamlin and FedEx. That's another good one.
Well,
they still haven't left him.
Nope. Absolutely not.
Across the line here for Boone. What does his lap time look like?
Very nice. P3.
Third.
See Pendel there really ripping it out of turn number 4. You could tell when someone's getting excited for a lap by the way that you could see them in the background out of turn number 3. So.
And this is Pendel starting a lap.
Mm-hmm. The autism awareness machine.
This car, I think, was filled, I believe, by Hunter Whitlock last week.
Yeah, and Hunter Whitlock is now in the 19 car this week. So he continues to play musical chairs. Pendel is a chartered machine, so no worries there. The unchartered drivers that we know that are safe right now are Proudfoot, Adams, Galloway, and Britton. But again, if any of the non-charters run a better lap time, though I think we might have cycled through most of them. We still got Jason Kraft.
Jason Kraft, I don't think it's set up time. So Jason Kraft, because he missed his spot, will not have a chance to come in.
Mm-hmm. So I think Joel Rodriguez is the last one to go, and Feemster. Yeah. So
Feemster was supposed to be first. So Feemster and Kraft were supposed to be the first ones to qualify. They did not go.
Pendel goes top of the board here. Very nice lap from Chris Pendel.
Former race winner trying to get back in the win column.
Mm-hmm. Great lap there. Here's Hunter Whitlock as well. We just talked about him. Chartered, but filling in once again.
Splitting this car. This is the normal car you're supposed to be splitting with DJ Anderson.
Mm-hmm. So kind of musical chairs back to home. Elias Flores will be next. I think Seth Wanzing missed his markers. He get to go as well.
Wanzing gets to go as well.
So we got Wanzing and Rodriguez, and I think that's the last of the non-charters to go, which means that both Proudfoot and Adams are going to be locked in at this point. So congratulations to them.
The question, I think, right now, looking down the qualifying order, is that 12 car. There's supposed to be a driver in it, but I don't think that driver is here.
Yeah, I do not.
So I think there might be 5.
Which is good news for the non-charters. Whitlock goes 4th fastest, another solid lap. Track conditions are really looking
faster. Good. Mm-hmm. The cloud cover's helping out, I think, a little bit here.
I would agree with that, but it has been mostly... Well, no, that's right, because the cloud cover cleared out when we went to the next session. So, Elias Flores...
Oh, he's struggling with understeer there. Struggled to get down to the yellow line.
better than hitting the wall, though. At least it's going to be a lap time worth putting. By the way, Joel Rodriguez is next up to qualify, so he'll be the one to keep an eye on as soon as Elias crosses the line. Elias is safe and locked in on charter, so no worries there for the Ascent Racing team. Yeah, he's definitely struggling with a lot of understeer there. The front just not listening to him. Listen here. See how it just kind of fades up away from the yellow line there? He's done a very nice job to not make the problem worse, but I don't expect this to be a very strong lap. Yeah, he is 16th fastest. Only slower is Tommy Withers. So Flora is going to have some work to do tonight, but with as many drivers that have hit the wall, he won't be as deep in the field as I think he believes he will be.
Yeah.
Joel Rodriguez, the penultimate non-chartered driver. We've seen some brilliant things out of this young man. So he takes that number 91, the Project 91 Ascent team car, which is where he's called home for most of the season so far. Did end up with a ride at the Daytona 300 after failing to qualify. And I think part of that, Carmen, is probably attributed to how well he did at Daytona, even though he didn't make the show. Very, very good driver.
Absolutely. He was very impressed with some of the moves that he made. He showed a lot of confidence. Obviously trying to use some of that confidence to move forward here.
Oh, almost gets the car loose as he gets right down there on that yellow line. Let's see what kind of lap time it is. It looks like it could be a good one here. 7th fastest. That's going to knock Britton down, I believe. And I think he's going to be on the bubble now. Gary Donaldson up next now. Let's see, because we had Proudfoot, Adams, Galloway, Rodriguez. So yeah, Rodriguez just knocked Britton into the bubble, even though we think there may be a 5th spot open. But Rodriguez is going to be in the show, barring he doesn't get overtaken by one more by Seth Wansing. But even if he does, assuming that we have that 5th spot open, he should be in the show now. Meanwhile, Galloway could breathe a sigh of relief because he's in the show now.
Yeah, Proudfoot, Adams, Galloway, Rodriguez top 4, Britton in 5th.
Of the non-charters, obviously, yeah.
Yeah.
Pendel with a banger lap, still just a little ahead of Proudfoot, whose lap stood at the top of the board for most of the session. Donaldson goes 11th fastest. And that is Ryan Pinnell in the background in the high noon number 2 Mustang.
This one is chartered for that team. They have 2 charters, 2 unchartered. We know 1 unchartered car is going home.
Which would be Withers, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
And then Wansing's the other one.
Yep. And then there's Boone and Pinnell, the 2 charters.
So Boone qualified 5th, Withers qualified 19th. See what happens. See if we can ride on board here with Ryan Pinnell. Listen along. Waited a little bit on that throttle through the tunnel turn, but not too bad. Very solid through there. Let's see what happens through 3. Oh, that understeer.
Yeah, he had to get out of it big time.
Well, you could hear he even hesitated on the lift, like he thought he was coming into the corner a little too slow. He lifted and had a second segment of lift, and it still just completely pulled away from him. He is going to be the slowest of all drivers, so not a great day for that team. Unforgiven really missing something here. Really highlights how well Boone has done, given those issues.
Santiago, I think, bombed his qualifying lap.
Oh, he's back in the pit. Yeah, no, I think he wrecked. Yeah, so that'll put Selena Thompson up next then, I assume.
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, she's on track there.
So that's 3 charters that have not set a qualifying time.
Still 1 non-charter to go.
Yeah. You know, I made the comment, you know, this race is going to be pretty racy, pretty physical. You're still going to want to qualify well. Starting 36 still does not help your case. Even if this track does kind of make itself more forgiving for going through the field, you don't want to test that theory out too often much because it was chaos last season.
Well, especially when there's so many cars, too. It doesn't matter how easy it is to pass. When there's 30-odd cars on the track, it takes forever to work your way through the field. It's not like what we're used to seeing in, say, the ABN Cup Series where 15, 20 cars are showing up, and if you're at the tail end of the field, it's not the end of the world. Your race could be over before it even starts if you're not paying attention. And I don't think... that was Selena Thompson's out lap, so this is her proper lap. Saw her get very wide in turn number 2.
And she went wide in turn 1.
Yeah, but I think she might get away with that one. It's not going to be a pole lap by any means, but had enough room.
She was off throttle. She was off throttle until the very exit. So it washed out hard.
So we won't expect to see her very high up the order. I think the biggest thing for her is just not hit the wall here because she's struggling with understeer quite a lot as well. It seems like that's the big thing today. It's understeer that's getting these drivers, not the oversteer.
Yeah, it's very hard right now. She was out of the throttle until she got to the wall in turn 2. Out of the throttle, out of the throttle, out of the throttle, back in it now.
Very nice turn 3, at least as far as the line goes. But she's leaving a lot of racetrack left. Not a lot of confidence behind the wheel of that car at the moment, but
19.
does manage to put it a couple positions up from the bottom. But yeah, 19th to 22. Connor Morse up next. You can see now everything has split down the middle. So you'll see the top 10 on the left, and then it'll be cycling through on the bottom left of the screen. Connor Morse very tight as well, looking very high, wide, and handsome out of turn number 1. They are struggling a lot, Carmen, especially now that sun's back out on the track.
And it's very interesting to me because track temperature-wise is at 80 degrees.
Yeah, that's not very high.
He's in the wall.
Smacks the wall there, yeah.
Yeah, he was in the throttle too long there on the exit. He didn't realize that he needed to back out of it, and yeah, that's not going to count.
And nobody else on the track at the moment.
Okay, who's next to
Seems
go
like
on
there's been
track
a mass
here?
disconnect in the session, actually, so there's probably going to be a red flag hold here. Getting reports that iRacing as a whole kind of just has exploded for most of the users. So that's why we don't have any cars on track at the moment, because we lost about half the lobby just now.
Please don't tell me we're going to have a red flag created before we get rain.
Hey, we've already had one, so...
That's fair. We did have one.
Don't you remember? Alyssa Pelletier-Sharp set the world on fire because she finally saw a red flag on her broadcast. Seth Wansing on track now, so I think they're going to push out who they have. So this is the last non-charter driver, so we do want to keep our eyes on him in the Miller Lite machine. Now, while Proudfoot, Adams, and Galloway are safe, Rodriguez may be safe, but is on that bubble right now of being absolutely safe or uncertain. So he is the one who's going to be sweating right now as we watch that number 0 car try to turn some laps.
Lap here for the 0 car of Wansing. Miller time for the 2-time RCS Cup Series champion. Who's in this car on Sunday nights has a 4-race podium streak going right now. He has been faultless.
And did you see how nicely he got that thing tampered down on that inside line, especially through turn 3? I think this could be a good lap if he doesn't make any mistakes in turn 1 and 2. That turn 3 is so critical. Let's see what he does down here.
Backs it down a little bit early, gets it right to the yellow line. That looks majestic.
Yeah, this is a good lap shaping up here. He just needs to not make mistakes. Look how much racetrack he makes sure to use too.
And he wasn't sawing at the wheel. I've been riding on board with him using the helmet cam. He didn't saw at the wheel. It was aimed and proper. That was good.
So tough to do in these cars. Look at how perfectly he places this here. I would be sweating a little bit if I'm Rodriguez. Oh, but he hits the wall!
He's in the wall! No!
It was such a good lap shaping up, but he's not even going to be in the show now because that is going to disallow his time, and that is going to be heartbreaking because he had
finish the lap.
He had a hell of a lap going for him.
That was one of the better looking laps here. He's going to cross the line. It's not going to count, I don't think. Just way too much there.
Looking at his sector times, it was sublime.
It was gonna be a top 3 lap.
He was over a half a tenth faster than Rodriguez just in the second sector. It's just, it didn't count.
That's so depressing.
And he will not make the show as a result of that, because he will be the lowest scored non-charter driver. So it is a day that Unforgiven Motorsports would want to forget. Horrible effort for qualifying from just a number of things, handling issues, wall hits. It's just not been a day to remember for them, unfortunately.
Josh Arnold on track right now. We're going to wait and see how they handle this, because just getting confirmation that there has been a technical failure.
Yeah, well, there's been a lot of... Just to put it in mind, it would have been a 53.96, so that wall tap, of course, cost a lot of time and would have knocked him pretty far down the order, as it looks like Josh Arnold almost clips that wall as well. But if you run a 53.96 even with a wall tap, he still would have had enough for 17th after smacking the wall. That kind of shows how much pace he had, that he isn't plumb last on the lap time either.
It would have put him between Mongold and Eichler.
But keep in mind, he was probably about 3/10 faster than that coming in, because he lost a lot of time and he had a lot of damage. So
Josh Arnold goes 11th fastest.
Apperson up next in the 4 machine. It's a good run there for Arnold. Gosh, I'll tell you what, I bet everybody at Unforgiven just has their jaws on the floor right now. They cannot believe what they're seeing. You've got Boone, who's put in a really good effort, but then you've got Withers not making the show, Pennell slowest of all, and Wansing doesn't even complete the lap. I mean, that's one for 3. Goodness gracious, from a team that's so good all the time, too.
Yeah.
Apperson having a nice and tidy lap. Not sure how fast it's going to be. It doesn't look fast, but it doesn't have to look fast. Hitting all the marks he needs to hit, at the very least, gets a little loose there. Should be a decent enough lap, but all these cars from now on out are chartered cars, so the kind of drama is over. And yeah, he definitely lost a bit of time there in that last corner. 21st position now. So Nathan Lehman is up next, making his debut in the series in the double 05. Filling in for Kyle Taub, who usually drives the 16. The KT Designs Chevrolet. And now that all the charters have gone, or all the non-charters are gone, it seems like now everybody kind of just breathes a little bit of relief. You either know you're in or you're out at this point, and yeah. Everything from here on out is just a bit of a procession to see who starts where. Now it's back to qualifying proper, not go or go home qualifying.
Yeah. Keep my eye on the race control perspective to see if there's anything that's changing regarding the actual event lobby procedure.
Lehman
glad he's got a charter
21st fastest.
Yeah.
Breo up next. Britain, as it stands, well, Rodriguez is absolutely the last car that's safe. We believe Britain should make it because we have an absent chartered driver. So it would appear as if Britain will make the show, but we don't know that 100%. We do know that Rodriguez, Galloway, Adams, and Proudfoot at this point are all safe. So Jeremy Breo putting in some solid sector times here.
Yeah, not a bad sector. Pretty good effort there through turn 3. Decent amount of the track used there out of 3.
What's it going to be? It's provisional pole. It looked fast, and it was fast. Well done. Jeremy Breo takes provisional pole in the number 88 machine. Eli Sasek up next.
That was a hot lap time.
Mm-hmm. You could tell from the sector times. I saw the monitor start lighting up, and it looked good.
Sasek struggled with understeer. All the Ascent cars have been struggling a lot with understeer.
Yeah, you could hear through the corner. From the blimp cam, you could hear him feathering that throttle, so. Breo, a whole 10th clear of Pendel, by the way. Very dominating pole position as it stands. Of course,
Fantastic use way too much of that apron in turn 2, almost tied the wall.
Yeah, it's not going to be a great qualifying for Ascent, I don't think.
No.
They all have seemed to be struggling. Rodriguez is the fastest of the Ascent cars right now, and that's because he had to make the show. So we'll see what Sasek gets here. It's good enough for 7th, so even though he had that mistake in T1, he does beat his teammate.
Up next, Peltier Sharp.
It's actually really impressive that he managed to pull all that back. Makes you wonder if he could have had a pole time there if he didn't make that mistake in 2.
Possible. Is the track getting better?
Could be. We'll see what Peltier Sharp can do in the number 8 machine. French driver down the long pond straightaway. Trying to keep an eye on that sector time. It's a pretty solid sector 1. Looking upper mid pack. Oh, but it's not going to matter. She finds the wall in a big way out of turn 2. And that'll be end of her run. So, looks like Sosi will be up next in the 81. The other Lady Liberty driver, of course, Connor Morse already went. You can see Sosi here, interestingly, trying to get some heat in those tires. Trying to help that front end hook up a little bit more. Very wide in turn 3. This is probably the most gamesmanship we've seen out of somebody out of qualifying so far. Let's keep an eye on this 81 machine. Took that late apex in 3 to get the maximum amount of momentum down the front straightaway. Was warming the tires down the short chute, trying to get a little bit of extra front grip. Was observing these drivers around him. Will it be worth it? It sounded like he went in there way too deep, but he's got it pointed down at least somewhat of an apex, so we'll see. This is shaping up to be one of those Dustin Hall, this lap looks terrible and it's the fastest we've seen all day kind of deals, Carmen.
Yeah.
Did a 26.3 in Sector 1, so I mean, it's competitive. Keep it in mind here, Jeremy Breo, Chris Pendel did a 26.3 as well, and he was sitting 2nd, so let's see. Keep your eyes on this 81 machine of Josh Sosi. Daytona 300 winner. Leaves a lot of room out of turn 3, but might not have needed it all across the line. What's it going to be for the 81? 5th place. Solid lap there. I think if he had just a little more out of turn 3, he might have had that little extra he needed, but that was an electric Sector 1. Here comes Cole Snyder in the DraftKings machine now. Something the mail always gets delivered, Carmen.
Sosi looked really good there on that lap. Cole Snyder had a pretty good warm-up lap. We'll see what this first sector looks like for him down the 2nd straightaway.
Yeah, keeping an eye on it. Not a great sector time. Not terrible through Sector 1, but... well, it's actually pretty good, actually. Could be on for a top 10 here if he keeps that pace up. I was looking at the wrong sector. 26.4 through Sector 1, so really not too bad. Looks like he's got it tapped down pretty good through 3. Almost gets it loose there. Did you see that extra rotation he pulled out of that by getting it down on the paint? Let's see if that helps him across the line for Cole Snyder. It could be a good one. And it's 9th fastest, so yeah, really not bad at all. And that's Lilac Zier in the background, who has been on an absolute tear lately, Carmen. See what she can do in the number 50, back with Stepping Stone Motorsports.
Yeah, she's had a phenomenal time. Won on Saturday in the SNS series for ARCS. Won the Champ Car finale at Phoenix on last Thursday.
Really been strong all across the board lately. It has been, did very well in Screen to Speed as well. Granted, Screen to Speed this week was a bit of a crapshoot race, but was still strong even in a goofy goober kind of situation. So really kind of hitting her stride here towards the end of the summer, early fall. Could be similar to what we see out of Tony Stewart back in the day, you know, doesn't do kind of average for most of the season, summer hits, and absolutely lights up. Let's see what she can do in that number 50. It's a car that she's called home in HTL for several races, and she goes 5th fastest, so she is carrying that momentum and just running with it. Great lap time from Zier. She is absolutely a dark horse pick to win this race tonight.
There's a lot of dark horses. This field's so good at this front.
Mm-hmm. Bren Roberts in the 1B car. Shows on timing and scoring as the 33, but I think Swatsworth's up next as well. Let's see what Roberts can do in the number, in the Sheets machine.
Roberts had a little bit of a mistake getting that car ready because it's supposed to be the 33.
Yeah.
The one is Peach.
Yeah. Oh, and he's gonna, maybe they'll get it right on the backup car, Carmen. That's a huge
lick.
That's
not easy.
Oh, he's hit both ends of the walls too. And here comes Swatsworth, who's just gonna have to avoid that all. So that's him out of qualifying, and a hard, probably the biggest lick we've seen yet. Hit both walls. And here comes Swatsworth to take his lap.
Brutal lap.
Mm-hmm. Look how far over he gets to the wall. Almost looked like he was going to hit the wall before he got into the corner. Very aggressive on how he turned that car in. We saw a lot of smoothness, and we've seen a lot of people sawing at the wheel, but Shad Swatsworth, almost like Alonso-esque, just throws the car into the corner, and it listened to him. See what the sector time's going to be. 26.2. Keep your eyes on this 18 car. That is a strong sector 1. Oh, but it doesn't matter because he clips the wall too.
Yeah.
Golly.
Everyone's pushing too hard at turn 2.
They really are. It's a shame because there could have been so many good lap times. These guys are just catching the wall in really bad places. Here's John Hagen also doing a little bit of gamesmanship that we saw from the 81 Associ. Goes for the wide arc, not trying to late apex, just goes wide altogether through turn 3. Interesting strategy there. We'll see what it can do. Swatsworth gonna be livid. That was such a fast lap. He has a good race car for sure, but he's gonna have to dig all the way for the back of the field. Here comes Hagen down the long pond. Gaming up next to bat. So now we're getting into the heavy hitters, as if we haven't already.
Yeah, we're on podium finishers from last week. Mm-hmm. So these are some of our last qualifiers. I believe Caitlin High will be the last one to qualify.
Should be, considering she won, yeah. And Hagen, oh my goodness, he is either gonna lose a ton of time or not get the lap to count because he hit the wall. At least on my end, but that was close enough that it could have been latency. Either way, he lost oodles of time in turn 2. These guys just cannot get the cars load up in time.
They really can't. Did Hagen's lap count?
It did count, so he got away with that one. It's only enough for 12th fastest, though. He lost a ton of time trying not to hit the wall, but good on him for getting it out of the way. There's Josh Gaiman on track now. See what he can do in the 61 machine. Looks pretty good through T1. Let's see if we can keep that up. Ooh, not sure if he had to crack the throttle out of 1 there. If he didn't, that would be a lot of time he just gained because he was very close to that wall. Into the trouble turn, though. Calamity corner, the tunnel turn. Can he keep it under him? He can. Sector times look pretty good, too, at 26.2. This is what we were seeing out of Swatsworth before he smacked the wall. Just a little bit off the apex in turn 3, though, for Gaiman, but he may be able to power out of that. Cross the line. Can the 61 take provisional pole or put it in the top 5? He goes second fastest. It was just that little bit, Carmen, that he missed in turn 3 on that apex that cost him pole position. So Katie Height last up. See if she can continue the momentum for the win in Homestead with a pole position today. It is Breo and Gaiman on the front row as it stands. And tip of the hat to Brandon Proudfoot. and John Adams, who are in the top 5 as non-chartered cars, doing excellent work. Height, another one of those drivers having paint scheme issues, so no number on the 11 car, but take our word for it, it's there. And across the line, is it going to be enough for pole position? It was a 26.4 in Sector 1, and it's not. It's only 10th place, so a solid qualifying, but not going to be enough for pole. Jeremy Breo, by the skin of his teeth, is going to hang on to pole position after a brilliant lap.
His first career pole in HTL.
Yeah, and a well-earned one, too. By 200ths over Gaiman, with Pendel and Proudfoot to boot. We know that Proudfoot, Adams, who else was it? It'd be Galloway and Rodriguez are safe. We assume William Britton will also be inheriting a non-charter spot with the lack of a charter on the field, and that means that if that is the case, a lot of drivers going home upset tonight. We'll keep you posted, though, on the William Britton situation. We do know Rodriguez and Galloway and Adams and Proudfoot are for sure safe. So Jeremy Breo is your pole winner for tonight's event. A little bit of pre-race coming up here shortly, and then we'll get ready for the show here around the Tricky Triangle in Pocono.
A lot of cars did not set qualifying times here tonight, so it's going to be a very jumbled up qualifying order.
Yeah, absolutely. Santiago, Hunter Peach, Connor Morse, Kevin Gibney Jr., Bren Roberts, Shad Swatsworth, Bobby Blower, Seth Wansing, Lily Pelletier Sharp all failed to turn a lap. Only 32 cars qualified a proper lap, and you would think, well, only 4 people messed up. No, we had well over 40 try to qualify for tonight's event, so... Well, now that the warm-up has turned over, Carmen, it is once again time to talk about pre-race. Aren't you so excited?
Hey, you know what? It has always been a fun time talking about, what's going to be in this race. Again, this is a very interesting race. So, especially with this field being so inverted, there's going to be some drivers hard charging through the field tonight. And it's going to be interesting. We'll leave it up there. What kind of interesting? We'll see. It's either interesting as in majestic and articulated and just an ethereal experience, or it becomes Charlotte.
Yeah. Hopefully that's not what happens today, but we do have a lot of drivers to keep our eyes on. Carmen, you in particular had several to keep your eye on, and those being Peach, Gaiman, Sosi, and Height. Good picks, obviously, to keep an eye on. Hunter Peach going to have it all to do today from the back of the field, but Gaiman starting strong, Sosi and Height in the top 10 as well. Definitely ones to watch, and of course, Sosi and Height each have a win already.
My pick to win.
Yeah, for the picks to win, Carmen picking Sosi. I'm going to put my chips on Katie Height. I think she does the back-to-back. But the computer thinks Josh Gaiman's going to do it. He had a podium in the last HTL race, starts on the front row today. No reason to believe he couldn't. Go ahead and go for it. So,
yeah, he looks really good. With Sosi, I feel like Sosi's in that position where he's going to be really good. He's going to keep getting those good runs and those good finishes, but he doesn't have to push for that race win. So I don't know if he's going to put himself in that position too often much to beat or make that kind of risk to keep going after those wins, because he's already got one. I don't know. It's still kind of learning what kind of driver he is. Whereas we know what Katie Height can do. Obviously, we know what Josh Gaiman can do. That's a hard bet. Jeremy Breo obviously showed out. Chris Pendel with pace out of nowhere, too.
Yeah.
There's some good question marks in this mix as well.
And as we already mentioned, don't count out Lilac Zier, who is riding probably a career high of just very strong result after very strong result. Picking up a couple of dubs, you know how much that helps your confidence as a driver, and it really shows because she is on fire right now. She's got all the momentum in her court. So as the drivers go for some pre-race warm-up, Carmen, talk to us a little bit about the Pocono Raceway. It is a very unique track. We talked about it a little bit at the top of the show, but what is it about Pocono that race after race just puts on fantastic product?
Raceway, it's a very, to say unique is an understatement. Obviously, it's you called it the hash brown earlier, which is a pretty good analogy for what this track is. 3 different corners, 3 different straightaways, all of them different lengths, different radii, different banking. It is a very interesting track. Turn 1 is the most banked corner, but it doesn't feel that way. 14 degrees of banking in turn 1. People always talk about turn 2 being the corner that's the fastest because of how sharp it is. That's 8 degrees of banking. Turn 3, the fast corner, everyone knows that, 6 degrees of banking. But it is very unique in that because you have banking to no banking. Turn 3 is as flat as Milwaukee, for comparison's sake. Whereas turn 1 is as banked as Texas. So you got 2 completely different ends of the spectrum with how the corners are set up here. And that creates a different experience because if you mess up one of these corners, you're giving up a 30-year lap immediately because you're not going to have the run going down the next straightaway. That's part of the magic to it, though, because with these Gen 7 cars, these cars draft really well. You can be a little bit more physical. Bump drafting is going to be, I think, we saw that last season a little bit. Bump drafting is going to be a bit of a deal as well. Bump and runs will be a bit of a deal. This track, it requires so much finesse. This track has been around, largely it's been active the entire time since it was opened in 1968. It used to be an open wheel track. It became too dangerous open wheel cars, so now it's stock cars. But we've seen stock cars have some nasty crashes. Elliott Sadler's crash in the COT era, a really big example. I think that was
2010. And Steve Park, of course, with the scary crash.
2001.
Some big changes being made to the track since both of those crashes, though, that have made it a bit safer. But we do mention the dangers of this track. Yeah, you look at the dangers of this track, but you also look at how much great racing it's put on, regardless of what has been on the surface.
This generation of car has saved this track. You know, you look at everything that this track in the Gen 6 era was one of the tracks that everyone said needed to go. Now it's one of the tracks that everyone really kind of hopes stays, and some people have said they want a doubleheader back. They want the doubleheader that we saw in the pandemic year. They want that back because this race has become such a quintessential part of the calendar with this car. This car saved intermediates and these regular speedway ovals. Pocono's no exception. And I think that potential shines through here too.
Yeah, an underdog of motorsports, especially in America. Definitely one that's going to be a fun race to watch, Carmen. But before we get into that, we're going to have to go through the starting lineup, and we have a lot to uncover. We did just watch most of the field run their laps, but that doesn't mean that there's not a lot of shuffling around with drivers who did not make the grid, drivers who do make the grid, etc., etc. So why don't we have a moment and head through that right now, bring up our starting lineup for tonight's race. Jeremy Brayo on pole alongside Josh Gaiman with Chris Pendell and Brandon Proudfoot for company. Behind them, John Adams and Lilac Zier round out the top 6 with Sosi and Whitlock, Boone and Height the top 10. Carmen?
Yeah, you look down the order, Caitlin Height, or Eli Sasek and Cole Snyder in row 6 there. That's 11th and 12th. Blake Galloway and John Hagan, they're in row 7, sitting here in this field. Again, I think a good result there for Blake Galloway, given how his qualifying is. Again, showing just how high you need to qualify as an uncharted car in this field. Rodriguez made it safe. William Britton made it safe. That is row 8. Row 9, Nathan Estep and Alfred Denny. Both of them struggled in practice, but got it figured out tonight in the qualifying session to get mid-pack in this field. Then you have Josh Arnold and Gary Donaldson rounding out the top 20. That is row 10 in tonight's field.
Yeah, absolutely. And a little bit further down now, you have Jake Millsap and Blake Henderson. Blake, one of those drivers that was struck by the iRacing server crash that happened between qualifying. Luckily for us, because of the single car qualifying, didn't have too many issues as far as the broadcast goes, but that's something that's going to be weighing on the minds of these drivers. Will the servers hold up? Austin Mongold in the 38 machine in 23rd alongside Caleb Eichler. And then behind is going to be Moutre and Height, followed by Elias Flores, Selena Thompson, Nathan Lehman, and Zach Apperson rounding out the top 30. Carmen?
Yeah, some of these drivers did not qualify. You look at Mongold and Height, obviously did not qualify in this field. You look all the way down here, you got Withers and Pinnell. Withers didn't qualify, but Pinnell did. Friend Roberts and Connor Morris chartered cars. at near the back of the field. Did not set qualifying times. They crashed out in qualifying, as did the Arrowhead Racing teammates with Swatsworth and Flowers. Flowers filling in for Dylan McDonald, the Hunter Peach, Angel Santiago, Lily Peltier Sharp, Kevin Gibney Jr., and Seth Wanzing. Seth Wanzing going to qualify, not chartered in, but was looking good for pole.
Yeah, absolutely a heartbreaking day for Unforgiven Motorsports, but not so much for that man right there, Jeremy Breo, coming out swinging in that number 88 machine alongside Josh Gaiman and Carmen. This is such a tricky track. It's such a track that we really love to watch. These drivers love to race on, but it does have its fair share of slips and slides. There's a lot of things to keep an eye on tonight to win here. First of all, you need to master each corner. We talked about 3 unique corners. The banking of Texas in turn 1, basically Indianapolis 2 electric boogaloo in the tunnel turn, and then a corner with a wider radius but as much banking as Milwaukee. It is 3 totally different beasts, and these drivers need to be good at all 3. We saw that in qualifying. It made or break who made the show tonight, who can master all 3. The other thing, it is so tempting to race the rest of the field here, but you need to race the racetrack. We saw how many people pushed just a little too hard and found that outside wall, both in turn 3 and in turn 2. You need to be smart not to make any big mistakes here. You also need to preserve your tires and the momentum. This track got repaved, but that does not mean that it is not horrible on these Goodyear Eagles, especially with this new profile tire. Not only that, but it is momentum-based racing. You're going to want to try and generate those runs. There's going to be a lot of drafting, a lot of passing. You need to balance racing the racetrack and making your moves when you find them, Carmen, and that's going to be how you get to victory lane and get yourself a pretty little triangle trophy.
Yeah, it's going to be very important. Dylan McDonald won this race last season. We're going to see a new winner at this track tonight. It's going to be a lot of fun. You see the weather on the right side of your screen, 71 degrees the air temp, 83 degrees the track temp. So still a very cool track here tonight.
Yeah, the track is cool. The tempers, though, very hot. It's been a very mature season for most of HTL. We'll see how far they can get, though. Would not be surprised, Carmen, if we get a handful of cautions to start this thing off with how big of a grid we have. But there's only one way to find out, and you're about to find out with us. Pace car about to take the hard left turn down one of the longest pit lanes in the series, and it's going to be in the hands of Breo, Gaiman, and 34 others as the green flag is about to wave. We're about to be underway here in Pocono. Green flag is out in the air. Saw William Britton tag the wall there. Everybody scatters, headed off into turn number 3. And as they head off into the third corner now, you can see that Gaiman is going to be the one to lead the first lap. Breo falling back a couple spots at the initial start, and look at them fan out down the front straightaway.
This is quintessential Pocono racing. 3 wide, almost 4 wide. But you got to get figured out because 3 and 1 does not go.
No, absolutely not. You've got to be so careful not to make a mistake, not to cause a big incident here. They've done very nicely through the first lap. Again, 80 laps, they'll click off quickly here as long as these drivers keep their heads on top of them. And so far they have. You can see everybody trying to find their positions and find their groove, and it's a fun thing to watch when it is under green. But Gaiman off to the early lead with about a 4 or 5 car length lead over Proudfoot, and then Breo and Zier and Height, who's up already 5 positions, making early moves in that number 11.
Stage is going to come pretty early in this race. Stage 1 ends on lap 15. And then stage 2 ends on lap 40.
Seems
someone's upset. It sounded like Peltier Sharp was upset. Trying to figure out what's going on with Peltier Sharp. Peltier Sharp just, I think, dropped back a little bit.
Yeah, she's swamped in the hornet's nest here. You can see she's 3 wide, almost 4 wide right here at the tail end of the field, losing positions. She's actually up technically 8, but that's with a lot of the non-charters, so that didn't make the show. But she's sitting towards the back. Not sure what has got her angry, but it's very easy to get upset here with, oh, and that's the 2 car back up the middle of the track. Did he hang on to it? Caught that right as the camera cut away. I guess he did, because we're still green, and that high noon car does hang on to it. Yeah, Ryan Pennell going to drop to the rear, but a nice save not to cause the first caution of the day early here. But yeah, you talked about 15 lap stages, Carmen. That seems to be in line with HTL really wanting to give us just a big sprint to start things off.
Don't have to worry about pit stops there. Stage 2 on lap 40, though, will be a different story.
See William Britton really struggling with the understeer. That's about the second or third time I've seen him have to go down about a half a lane off the corner because he got too deep on exit. Got to be very careful there. A couple cars blinking in and out. We'll see if the iRacing servers are going to be in our favor tonight as well. That's another thing to keep an eye on. But so far, so good. 4 laps in. Going to be 11 to go to the stage break next time by. And you see a little touch to the wall there for the 005 and Nathan Lehman. No harm, no foul. That looked like a pretty soft touch, but it will kill the momentum. Here's Joel Rodriguez, who's up 2 positions already. One of the last cars to qualify. William Britton, the very last car to qualify at Go or Go Homers, following him right on through the field. They're both up a couple of spots. Gaiman still leads out front. Proudfoot now 0 up to third, getting a nice push from Jeremy Breo, who is down a bit. Are you surprised to see Breo fall back? Do you think he's maybe saving his tires or just had a bad start?
I think very much tire savings going on right now. With Breo, you want to kind of save your tires up just a little bit here. I think it's also one of those things where it's difficult for Breo because he hasn't had a lot of seat time the last couple months. A huge gutter change for him is taking him out of the HTL Cup Series conversation. So he's having to try to kind of refine his bearings here a little bit, and he's had very minimal time to do so. So that could play a factor in it too. But he's always been one of those drivers where he saves tires a little bit and then sprints at the end.
That does beg the question with a 14-lap stage, and now the caution's out. And it's the 17 of Santiago, and maybe Ryan Pennell getting a piece of that as well. But the first caution is out for the number 17. Did he have any help is the question. It was the 2-car right behind him. And no, he lost it all on his own, but does collect Ryan Pennell, whose day goes from bad to worse. Looks like he just dropped it there. It's one of the first times we've seen someone get loose through the tunnel turn thus far today, but through qualifying and whatnot, but perhaps coming in a bit hard. Let's see if he had... Oh, you can see right there what happened. He got down there and clipped the apron, Carmen, and that is all she wrote. You cannot get away with that. Watch right here.
Not in the slightest.
Yeah, watch right here that Darrell Waltrip, number 17 machine, get really just trying to find a hole beneath. You can see checking up a little bit in front of him. He tries to send it in deep, get a nice line. You can clip that yellow line a little bit, but what he ends up doing here is you can see right there, he gets those left sides below.
He bottoms it out.
And it just kicks it right over. You can see where that patch of new and old asphalt is, just completely dumped him. You can see the 2 of Pennell almost lost it as well. Unfortunately, nowhere for him to go as the 17 overcorrects Santiago hard into the wall. Pennell gets involved as well. Bada bing, bada boom, wreck him for last. That'll bring out our first caution of the day.
There's no fast pairs, so that's a big thing.
Yeah. Other question is, will there be any takers? I don't imagine, but I was just going to ask you, it begs the question with such a short stage, is it worth saving your tires in a 15-lap stage?
Yes, it's worth... You don't want to give up a set, truly.
A lot of fakers, but nobody really wants to come in. Lots of weaving around. I think the first one in is actually going to be Sosi. Sosi comes down, maybe for fuel, maybe for tires. It would be very interesting because I believe they have the limited tire sets here. They do, so it wouldn't... I'd be surprised if they're all taking tires. It makes sense why Roberts would come in and Santiago and Blowers, etc. But a little surprised to see Sosi make that strategy call here. I'm not sure if he's just going to take fuel or tires, but if it's just fuel, I could see that. If he goes for tires, I'll be a little surprised. So the first caution of the day comes out the tail end of lap number 5. Gaiman has led every lap so far today, but he hasn't done it from pole. Jeremy Breo was on the pole position. He currently sits 5th. He's lost several spots. Proudfoot is up to 2nd. Zier is up on a tear into 3rd, and Caitlin Height is up 6 positions into 4th. So one of the biggest movers of those in the top half of the field. Chad Swatsworth also up 11 positions from 24th place, so he's doing quite nicely for himself as well. And Peltier Sharp, despite her frustrations earlier in the race, sitting 27th right now and is up a handful of positions as well. So those are the big three as far as positions gained.
Interesting positioning here. Got Gaiman and Proudfoot, who battled on last night in the HTL Cup Series versus Texas. Gonna be battling again here. Zier, Height, Breo, Whitlock, Snyder, Boone, Hagen, Adams, top 10. Still a very mixed match, top 10.
Yeah,
a lot
absolutely.
of people in the run for stage points.
And here's the other thing, too, that it's going to be an even shorter sprint to the finish now with the fact that we've had that caution. It's going to be less than 10 to go when the stage gets fired back up. They're going to be an absolute madhouse trying to get all the positions they can before it's too late. You can see, looks like they're doing the choose now, so which would make sense, be quick yellow. Nobody was a lap down yet. As we ride on board with the iRacing pace car, taking a look back at your race leader, Josh Gaiman. It's Proudfoot and Zier, then Height, Breo, Whitlock, Boone, Cole Snyder, who's up a few positions, as is John Hagen, and John Adams, who's down several, but is currently still sits in the top 10. Handful of Fords, one Toyota in the top 10, and then the rest, the three are Chevrolets. So some Ford dominance right now in the top 10 as it stands, as we get doubled up, get ready to go racing again for the second time tonight.
You know, we say Ford dominance. They haven't won a race this season.
That is a good
Been
point.
a Chevrolet and 2 Toyotas.
Today could be a good day to get it done, though, and we're riding on board with somebody who
Don't
probably
put that
could.
juju on me.
Looking on board with a neat little camera angle of Josh Gaiman in that Ford Mustang. Gives you a good idea what kind of spoiler package we're running this week. You can see that Lexan spoiler up ahead of the actual opaque spoiler, so your eyes deceive you if you think we're running the baby spoiler. No, we still have the big spoilers on. Looking back
we saw last season.
Yeah, looking back at Height and Zier. Down the short chute, we'll be getting the green flag this time by, and we'll get ready to go racing again and see what we can get away with. See if we can make it to the end of the stage. It was a pretty decent start, all things considered, with as many cars as we had. I'm surprised we went as long as we did without a caution, but who knows? We'll see what happens here. Is the pace car is going to pull off? Can we get to the end of the stage? Odds are probably not, but you never know. Green flag back in the air. Gaiman and Proudfoot lead us down. We're back underway. At the line, gonna be, oh my gosh, is they're really fighting hard right there. Gonna be 7 to go in the stage this time by.
Hagen, that moved all the way to the inside.
Yeah, it was Snyder he was fighting with too. They almost found the grass down there on the infield.
Oh, Hagen just got loose. 3 wide in the middle.
Yeah, good save not to make a big mess out of that, but he definitely seems to be struggling a bit on those colder tires. Looks like he'll settle down in front of Eli Sasek. Tries to go to the outside to get a good arc into the corner, but look at the 90 there of Nathan Eastep trying to go even higher. And you can see that Caterpillar Mustang getting very sideways out of turn 2 as well. They are absolutely struggling with the handling on these race cars, Carmen.
It's pretty wild watching this kind of, everyone's serpentining here on colder tires. But hopefully things will sort out a little bit as we get close to the end of the stage. 6 to go with being in stage 1.
Yeah, Proudfoot looking, sniffing for the lead perhaps here. Katie Height in the wings in case something happens. I'm starting to think maybe Breo's not saving tires so much because he's still falling back a bit to 7th. I would have thought if he was saving some tire, he would have been back on it a bit here. Seems like he's just struggling a little bit in the traffic. The pole sitter still sitting nice. You can see him just about a half a car without a lane. Looks to the inside now of Boone. Boone's going to let him have that inside, and they're going to be side by side through the tunnel turn. Oh, Breo really forced the issue there, but going to get it done. Good move there. He's going to kind of continue to off into turn 3, though. Boone not quite giving that one up yet. And
Breo got a little bit loose out of turn 2.
Yeah,
which is what gave Boone that chance.
Yeah, he like stepped up the hill, almost made contact with Boone, but he will clear out of turn number 3.
And has a lot of momentum.
probably try to carry that down onto the 19 of Whitlock as he's on the back bumper. He will have a look. So he is trying to make some moves here towards the end of the stage after a pretty shaky start for the number 88 machine. Meanwhile, Gaiman still leads by about a car length over. Oh, wow, did Breo just get loose there again? And now here comes
I think he got tight.
I don't
know. He went underneath and got a little bit tight there.
I almost saw smoke. I thought somebody in front got tight or got sideways, but you can see now Brandon Proudfoot falling back into the clutches of Height a little bit here for second place as they all try to scramble down the short chute. Before to go in the stage this time by, we're getting to the point, Carmen, where this could be the end of the stage if we have another yellow. So that's why they're racing so hard on this first sprint stage. Oh, look at Breo getting loose again there. Does a good job to hang on to it. Yeah, he is absolutely pushing it. You can see the whole field in the background there. Gaiman looking pretty good for stage number 1. Those would be some great points that he needs. Oh, Boone slides up the hill, gets into the Caterpillar machine and hard into the outside wall is Jonathan Adams, who then pulls it down. Gonna have to try to stay out of the way. They're gonna all try to scatter to avoid. That's a hard lick for the number 76.
He needs to stay out of the way.
Yeah, he's doing the right thing here. It's just that is such an unfortunate position to be in. His day is gonna be done. You can see how hard he's turning that left front wheel. That car, unfortunately, is destroyed from a car who raced his way into the field. A little bit of contact there, and now he's out of the race after some touching with Boone. See if we can have another look at that later after the stage ends, but for now, the battle up front, we stay green. 3 to go in the stage this time by, and now this is definitely the point where if a caution comes out, the stage would end.
Big time.
Condolences to John Adams, who his race is over as quickly as it started, which is a shame because he was running quite well there. You hate to see a non-charter get knocked out of the race so early.
It is so disappointing.
Things starting to fan out a little bit. Proudfoot trying to surmount another attack here. I don't think he's quite done with Gaiman. He's going to have 2 laps to try and make something happen. You can see how he's trying to take that later apex. Gets a lot more momentum here. Gaiman might have burned up a little bit of his tires. Proudfoot's closing for sure. No doubt about that. See a little wiggle from both of them there. You can see big wiggle there from Gaiman. Really struggling with the rear of that car. Looked like Proudfoot struggled a little bit with the front of the car on entry. Proudfoot's going to have a nice run here with 2 to go in the stage. You don't want to wait too long in case a caution comes out if you're going to try to win it, but it looks like he's going to sit right now. Just tuck in right behind and try to play his move out a little bit wider through turn 1. Going to take that later apex. Watch the run he's going to get here. Good opportunity if he wants to try and take it through the tunnel turn. He should have enough draft. The long pond straightaway very long. You can see breathe the throttle. He's lifting. Not quite one to take the fight yet. Might wait to that last lap to try and make something happen.
He's trying to time it 100% because he knows Gaiman will. He's raced Gaiman enough at this point. He knows that Gaiman's going to get the over/under and get back at him.
Mm-hmm.
Because the thing is, Caitlin Height's too far back at this point to make something happen. It's Whitlock, Vince Breo entering turn 3.
Mm-hmm.
Breo offline, but Snyder and Rodriguez side by side, they can't capitalize.
No, saw also William Britton tag the wall again out of turn number 2. He's really flirting with disaster. He's not hit it too hard yet, but he's been tapping that thing about every other lap. But we're now on the final lap of the stage, so if someone's going to make a move, they got to make it now. You can see Height throws a big move down into turn number 1, trying to use every little bit left of those Goodyear Eagles to try and stay ahead of Lilac Zero while simultaneously having a go at Proudfoot. Proudfoot has a really nice run now. Wonder if he's going to take it or just try and sit in second here for the stage. Got to think maybe not worth it to fight with your de facto teammate, former teammate last year at least. Mentioned they've raced a lot with one another. Maybe going to try one more move down into turn 3. Gaiman struggling a little bit. Could open the door. Height gets a really nice run through the final corner. But it looks like Gaiman's going to hold on. He will be stage winner. For stage number 1, Gaiman, Proudfoot, Height, Zier, Whitlock, Breo, Snyder, Rodriguez, Sasic, Boone, the top 10. Pretty exciting little sprint to start things off. Congrats to Josh Gaiman, your first stage winner. For Stepping Stone Motorsports, he's led every lap today. He's done it from the outside pole. Good effort for Proudfoot and Height as well. Good points for them. Solid points for Lilac Zier in 4th position, who is still just carrying that momentum. This is the best we've seen her race. Can't say that enough in the last few weeks. Then you've got...
He's been standing.
Solid day for Whitlock. Breo, not what he wanted out of that first stage, but did rebound a little bit, got a couple more positions, comes home with 6th. Snyder, Rodriguez, Sasek, Boone, all going to be pretty happy to pocket those points the best they can. Let's take a look and see if we can't figure out what happened between Boone and Adams here. Watch Boone on the bottom and Adams in that Caterpillar car. You can see Boone coming in way too shallow. Comes up the hill a little bit. Almost looks like Adams comes down a bit too. So it was one of those worst case scenarios, and you can see absolutely bodies the outside wall. That's day done in a heartbeat for John Adams. He's already put it behind the wall. He is maybe not done for the day, but he's absolutely out of contention, and that's a shame. And a big save there from Chris Pendell trying to get out of the way. So good heads-up driving there, but it's just a shame to see that happen so early on for John Adams. We'll ride on board with him and listen to how aggressive this impact is for John Adams. This one's going to hurt. Never really even saw it coming. It's like he got loose in the corner the same time that Boone got tight. They got together, and you can see how much he's having to turn the wheel there to not run over the field. Look how hard that is. He's done a fantastic job not to come back into traffic. Keeping it up in the wall, being predictable about it. That is, that's the best thing you can do in that kind of scenario. It's so unfortunate, but good sportsmanship from Adams. And unfortunately, out of the race tonight, but maybe we'll see him back. Again, very strong effort up until then for the 76. Really a bit of a bummer.
Yeah, he definitely put in the effort there just to get into this field. And unfortunately, have it in like that is so soul crushing.
Well, sun's out, bun's out, and so is the pit crew as we get the first round of pit stops for the field as they all head down. Again, one of the longest pit lanes in HTL this season. It's going to be a bit of a grind. You got to be careful not to speed here. Off into pit boxes everybody goes. Angel Santiago stays out to lead a lap here in that 17 car after his crash to bring out the first caution. Try and score some bonus points here as we sit and wait at the end of pit lane. Who's going to be the first one off? Remember, Breo has that first pit box. Could help him gain a couple positions here, but it doesn't look like it will. It's going to be Game and Height leaping over Proudfoot, then Zier. And then I believe Breo came out after that. So pretty much Height, the big winner there, getting a position or two. And I think Breo gained a spot as well. So pretty clean too. It's a pit lane that seems so wide, but time and time again we see a lot of issues in pit lane here. Everybody for the most part getting through there without too much issue, so that's good to see as well.
Belief there, everyone pretty well taking that first pit stops pretty well, and now things are going to be set in motion because now you've got to worry about stage 2 being over 20 laps after we go back green, and then stage 3 the entire second half of the race. So now everyone's going to try to figure stuff out. If you haven't figured stuff out already, you need to really start figuring out here in stage 2 because you're going to start running out of time to have leeway.
Well, here we go. It'll probably be choose either this time or next. Probably next time because it'll probably be a full yellow.
Remember that you do not do choose cones here, so you're safe from that rule.
Thank God. But still gonna have the one to go here very shortly. You guys conditioned me into thinking we have choose everywhere, and the first time I actually talk about it, we don't have it.
Yeah, the only series it does is Sunday nights.
Yeah. Actually, will be a one to go this time by, so we'll get back going very quickly. Looks like Peltier Sharp diving back down pit lane, and that is John Adams back on the track in the background, so he is still turning laps, just not the day he wanted. William Britton comes in as well. If you're that far back, why not? Get a little bit extra fuel, maybe see if you can pull some strategy. If we get a caution here or there, maybe you can stay out and try and snooker the leaders here and get a cool stage win. That's some William Britton strategy if I've ever seen it, so keep an eye on that 68 if we have a little spree of cautions at the start of the stage. As I come down the back straightaway now, you can see the back end of the field a little disconnected from the rest, but Getting ready to go green again, Carmen. What are we expecting to see on this particular occasion? Do you think it's going to be calmer or more intense, especially with that 17 car up front?
I think it's going to. If we see a caution in the first 5 laps of stage 2, it's going to really kind of paint the outline for the entire rest of the stage. If we kick the can down the road, then I think stage 3 is going to be where it gets really interesting as far as just how the aggression goes. I think the first couple laps are going to really determine that. But if we can get it to go green, we'll have a pretty good stage, I think. That's the big question, though.
Yeah.
Because I believe we still have all 36 cars still running.
Yes, with John Adams several laps down, but still circulating.
Yeah, he's still circulating, yeah. That's pivotal.
Yeah. Very, going to be very interesting to see what Santiago does, up 37 positions. With the strategy call to start this race from the start on the front row. Green flag back in the air. We're off and away. See how long he can hold on to that lead with some several lap old tires. Big blocks already from Cole Snyder there, with Rodriguez having none of it. Oh, and Hagan nearly gets turned into the middle. And that did not last long for the 17 of Santiago. And Hight's going to be absolutely livid getting stuck behind him. Gonna lose quite a few positions here.
He's staying to the inside too, which is, I think, pretty smart.
That's the smart thing to do, yeah, as long as he can
Wow, he just got turned by Zier!
And a hard hit for the 17.
And that's gonna be ugly.
And back into traffic, that's the big one. In the tunnel turn, you can see hoods flying, fenders every which way. The caution is out. And
Zier
it's the
got
worst
hooked by
case
somebody.
scenario. You gotta hate that for Zier. She had a great run coming together. And you can see that car crabbing. She's done. You can see more fenders still flying off of cars as they head down the short chute.
I don't know what happened.
It happened so
obviously
fast.
Zier, we know that Zier got turned because Zier got turned into the path of Santiago.
Yeah, and it sent Santiago.
it's
Cole
Snyder.
Snyder here kind of fading in the middle. You can see already. I mean, it's pretty obvious what's going on here, but you can see how they're all staggered 3 wide like that. Take a look right here with this 24 is the one you're going to want to watch. We'll change the camera angle here.
Yeah, let's go up here because I wonder if he's getting pinched in that situation by Rodriguez.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to tell. He's right there. Let's back it up just a little bit. No, I don't know. It's early to say, but I'm not sure yet. We'll play it in slow-mo here. You can see Height tucks back in a line. No, Rodriguez was coming over, but it looks like Snyder just misjudged where he was going there and gets into the back of Zier, and this sends the 17 car airborne and hard into that inside wall. And then this is unfortunate because Zier does a nice job to keep it off the wall, but now that they're bouncing off each other, they come back into traffic, and then God help them all because there's really nowhere to go. You can see the 96 get in it.
96 with Flowers.
Denny, Roberts, huge hit for the 19 car.
Whitlock
throws both fenders off into the catch fence.
Apperson, Pinnell.
Yeah, Pinnell got into another one already, unfortunately. Both of them, none of his own doing. I think Peltier Sharp might have done a nice job to pick her way through that. Lehman's involved. Yeah, I think we had seen how aggressive Cole Snyder had been racing so far. I think he just misjudges this hole. And the 91 was encroaching him a little bit here, but see how he kind of bleeds to the middle. I think he saw the 17 moving over and tried to react, and he just thought there was a hole right there, and it wasn't. It just filled. It wasn't. Well, it didn't fill. It was never there. See William Britton get a piece of it? Yeah, I think Peltier Sharp does a nice job actually to avoid all of that. She sneaks through. Take a look at her as she tries to pick her way through the melee. We'll ride on board with her. Not every day you have about 10, 15 cars wreck in front of you at Pocono, but when you do. Comes to a nice slow, gets out of the way, avoids everything, doesn't even get in the grass. Very nicely done from Sharp. Let's, are we still good on time on the pace laps here, Carmen?
At least 2 to go.
Okay, we'll keep taking looks at this then. Let's first of all, let's ride on board with, see who triggered all that there. It was Cole Snyder. So let's ride on board with him. I think what happens is he sees that 17 car move up and he gets a little spooked. And I think he thinks he's clear on Zier, but just isn't. Yeah, he thinks that hole's closing and he just, I mean, it's history from there and you can see the hole. Not a fun feeling when you see that in the mirror and know that you're the one that caused that. Let's go on board with Lilac, who is gonna get a very rude awakening. She's just minding her own business, driving down the road, and all of a sudden she's backwards in front of the field. So, likewise for the 17, who was doing everything right as a car on old tires and still got clobbered. See right here. Now get ready for the fun part. I mean, she got hit about 4 or 5 times, Carmen.
Here.
On board with
Santiago.
Angel Santiago. I mean, he just gets blindsided. Hard lick here. And several more. And there's just nowhere to go in that kind of situation. On board with Ryan Pinnell now, you'll see how quickly these holes close up.
Oh, that in real time is vicious.
Yeah, and you see debris.
It does not look great.
You see cars in the air. You got parts and pieces flying. You got people. I mean, it's a war zone. It's a parking lot when you come out through there, and you still got cars that are. Watch here. We'll ride on board a little longer. There's still parts and pieces bouncing down the Long Pond straightaway here from cars that got involved in things. I saw a piece of debris all the way off and turned. Yeah, right there. He runs over it. So I mean, it looks like something out of Test Drive Eva Destruction more than it does out of iRacing at that point. So see them all catching up to the. Yeah, they're all trying to catch up to the tail end of lead laps. They try to repair their damage. Gaiman, Proudfoot, Breo, Sosi, Height, the top 5. Sosi snuck his way up there, didn't he? We'll have another go at it here. Pace car gonna take the hard left. Green flag back in the air. We're underway again on lap 23. Remember, we're racing a lap 40 for stage number 2. Gaiman, who's led all but a couple of laps today, back out front. Proudfoot second with Breo and Sosi in tow. Height sitting in 5th. Under some pressure here, though, from Rodriguez as they still battle for 4th as Breo tries to make up some lost time from that first stage.
See if it calms down a little bit here.
You would hope.
Yeah, now that they've seen a dozen cars fall out of this race pretty easily, I think that was the big wake-up call.
Yeah, it's worth noting a lot of cars, just about everybody's still circulating. Bar, Jonathan Adams, and Blake Galloway, they are currently behind the wall. Everybody else is at least attempting to turn laps, and most of them are either on the lead lap or one down. And,
another caution, another yellow.
Oh, it's Zier again. This time William Britton involved. And on a day that looked so promising for Zier, goes from bad to worse. Santiago entered the pit lane, which leads me to believe that he either got turned or, because there he is exiting it now, clearly not making a pit stop. So he's either been turned or had to take evasive action.
Santiago was trying to serve a penalty.
Oh my goodness. Ooh. That's a, yeah, Santiago in the pits there. Yeah, I guess he was trying to serve the penalty. That's a strange one. It looks like maybe the damage from, we saw how bad that the 50 was crabbing. I'm thinking that's probably the damage catching up to her. And
she was trying to keep that car going, and unfortunately, it just wasn't there.
I mean, this is a violent wreck. Watch right here. This thing just snaps on her.
See it drift out.
Yeah, but I mean, there's nothing you can't react to that when the rear end's disconnected. Was it really wise to go back out there with that much damage? Maybe not, but you gotta have to, right? I mean, you have to try.
Especially this early on.
Yeah.
This early on, when there's so much of the race left to do, you genuinely have to.
I mean, and then the counterpoint is, look at there's Whitlock with literally no front end still rolling around. They were already having a bad day, and now they have a lot worse one. You can see how out of line she gets here. But watch how quick this thing snaps on her. I don't really think that there's much of a chance. Well, yeah, she could have just... I think the smarter thing probably would have been to dump that to the inside. But, you know.
It's easier to say as a driver.
2020, yeah.
It's easier to say as a driver than to do as a driver. Because as a driver, your instinct is to try to save it. Your first instinct is try to save it.
Absolutely. I think...
And that's where Zero was at.
Yeah, it was a bit more predictable of a slide. I thought it snapped from that one angle, but you can see right here she's already losing it. She almost had it, but it did the old next-gen snapperino. And, yeah... That's unfortunate. It's a shame it collects as well. Whitlock and Britton. We're right on board from Santiago because he's going to have a very interesting view of this incident. Back it up just a touch here. So yeah, he's apparently trying to serve a penalty. Though I don't know if that was a penalty he's trying to serve. That looked to me like...
Listening to his onboard. Listening to like the radio chatter, he was trying to get a penalty clear because apparently he passed somebody exiting pit lane, and they couldn't catch up to him, so he got a penalty for it.
Which usually they will clear. So I think that was and the way that he came down pit lane at not full speed, he was reducing his speed, but the way that was definitely a bail. He was trying to get out of the way as quick as possible there. So, and that's heads up. That's one of the nice thing about league racing, that you can use the pit lane. Obviously in an official race you're kind of screwed, but with league racing like this you can use that pit lane. It is like real life. As long as you're slowing down while you're in the pit lane and you're not going through there at 200 miles an hour, you can go down the pit lane to avoid stuff, and about 9 times out of 10, at least in HTL, you're going to get that cleared. We see that all the time at Daytona, Carmen. When we have cars spinning through the pit lane, they get their flags clear because it's bad enough that you had to go down there anyway. You're already losing time and positions. You don't really need that insult to injury. Though the iRacing officials would disagree with us on that. Gaiman still leads from Proudfoot and Sosi with Breo and Rodriguez as another one bites the dust here. 25 cars sitting on the racetrack, 26th on down, deciding to make another round of pit stops to either fix damage, newly acquired or otherwise. Zier, Britton, Henderson, Apperson, Santiago, Whitlock, Galloway, Adams, and Lehman and Flowers all were in the pit lane. Zier, Britton, and the other first 5 or 6 I mentioned still in the pit lane. I think Zier may be done for the day in that number 50, which is a shame. Britton likewise, probably not in great shape. Santiago should be okay if that car was still rolling to begin with. He didn't get any more damage. There goes Britton. He gets moving again. Apperson's rolling down the pit. So a lot of wounded cars, but a lot of cars still in there with a shout. So, and a lot of them still on the lead lap, which is also pretty crucial for what's happening right now. You can see them all trying to beat the pace car off as they double up, and we'll get ready to go green once again. Special night tonight. Obviously the special name for tonight's event. You can see the ribbon up on the top right. Carmen, you got some info on us about one of the bigger things that go beyond the race tonight, which is something we see HTL do an awful lot.
So Tyke Strong 200, it's named after Dylan McDonald's uncle who passed away a couple weeks ago. Dylan McDonald obviously not in this race. Blauer is filling his seat in the 96 car tonight. This being one of the first races after that took place. Obviously Homestead last week, another one. But Pocono pretty near and dear to Dylan, obviously being the previous race winner to this race. Unfortunately, he couldn't be here tonight. Said this last week, and it continues to be sad. Our condolences are with Dylan and his family as they go through this difficult time. There's not a doubt in my mind. You see how much of this community is right there with them. So many cars running that ribbon somewhere on their cars tonight in a show of support for McDonald and his family. Our thoughts remain with you, and There's light at the end of that tunnel.
Absolutely. One of the cool things about HTL is they always put the larger things first here. We've had plenty of charity races and tribute races, tribute cars. That's one of the cool things about this series. We're all thinking about you, and hoping that see you back soon, Dylan. Wishes are with you. Green flag back in the air, though. We'll get back underway here on lap 29. Gaming with another great restart over Proudfoot. Moves on up, and we're underway once again here at Pocono. See the ebb and flow there as everybody tries to check up for the tunnel turn. I love those side shots. Really gives you the idea of how much the momentum is moving around with these drivers.
Yeah.
See everybody. Oh wow! Did you see Swatsworth give a shot to the back of Moutre headed into turn 3 there?
Moutre held onto it.
Gonna take it and use it for some momentum to try and go after Ryan Pinnell here, eh? Good battling in the middle part of the field. See Katie Height back in 22nd as well now. I believe she made a pit stop to get fuel to try to make it to the end of the stage. Putting herself in a bit of a dangerous zone there. We've already seen how the middle of the pack can be vicious with no faster pairs, but putting herself on a good strategy to try to win the stage if she survives it. So see what she can do in that 11 machine, trying to follow her teammate Swatsworth up through the field. Look at this little gaggle here. Gaming all the way down to Cole Snyder. Nose to tail. You can even add John Hagan.
Down to John Hagan.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's the same thing from Josh Arnold on down.
Nathan Eastham just set the fastest Sector 1 of any car today. He comes across the line. He may very well set the fastest lap of the race. He is absolutely flying right now in that number 90. He's up 11 positions from where he started. Gaiman's still out front, though. He looks like the one to beat at the moment.
Trying to get back-to-back on race wins. Winning at Texas last night.
Oh,
Contact. That is
I couldn't
Rodriguez.
tell if that was Sosi or Rodriguez that hit it or if they both got it. Now the caution's out again.
And that is further on back. Swatsworth, yep.
He's got it rolling pretty quickly. I wonder if there's too much damage to that car, but let's take a look. Oh, he just lost it on his own. Oh my goodness.
That is a lot more damage than we thought it was going to be.
Well, I don't know how much damage it was, but it was a violent hit for sure. If he got it on the fenders, he might have got away with that, but right next to his teammate, I just mentioned how they were both working their way through the field here. Yeah, he's already losing it. Look, he is trying to hang on to it. It's almost like a tire went down or something, and that is a hard lift. Caught it just at the end before that safer barrier ducks away, which is probably honestly the better thing to have happen, because otherwise he would have hit that at a 45-degree angle.
Decent amount of fender damage on that left front.
I'm kind of...
I think he hits it mostly rear first, but the recoil gets the left front.
Yeah, I'm just shocked at how long he was losing that car. It seems like something we've seen all day today. Drivers just slowly losing the back end. It's just what we saw with Zier. The back end steps out about halfway through the corner, and they just never get it back. On board here with Caitlin Height. Gonna watch her teammate go for... Watch here. Watch the... Gets down on the apron. Now it's loose already. Look how sideways. He's basically drifting it through the corner there. That was never... I mean, he tried as hard as he could, but you just don't get those back. Hard lick. And I don't know if that's a day ender, especially with some of the hits we've been seeing some of these drivers taking. It's a hard knock life at Pocono for the majority of the field. Let's ride on board here and just listen along. Yeah, he only got the wall once, but that's a hard lick nonetheless. Not an ideal scenario there for Shad Swatsworth, who will now have to go to the back of the field once again. And at this point, Some more drivers might be hitting the pit lane because you could probably make it on fuel from here. In fact, I'm certain you can because it's at 40, so only 7 to go in the stage. You can definitely make it on fuel from here, and you can see a whole bunch of people coming down pit lane. We got Apperson, Lyon, a lot of these cars with some damage, of course, but a whole bunch of takers trying to top off on fuel. Lilac Zero getting the free pass. That's why the field was all running down there on the bottom. So it's been a solid start through that first stage, but the second stage has been very wreck-filled, and we're losing a large chunk of the field. Carmen, are you surprised by this, or is this kind of what we expected, especially with all the fill-in drivers that we have today?
It was kind of expected. Obviously, we raced here last season. It was in the playoffs, and we didn't have the full 36-car field. When you have this many cars that attract this challenging on its own, I'm not surprised. I'm surprised by some of the drivers that have had issues so far in this race, but I'm not surprised that drivers are having issues and that we've had a big one already. The question now becomes, I think, as this race goes on, do we see another one as drivers at the front of the field really begin to push? Because right now, a lot of it's been cars sitting back or trying something different and getting themselves in trouble. What happens when we turn it up to 11 at the front of the field and let them fly? Do we see this kind of amplify as well? Because again, we saw what happened with Zier and with Santiago. It's something that can easily be replicated.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't be surprised. Of course, we know how fast Josh Gaiman is, but gotta ask Carmen, what is the biggest weakness of Josh Gaiman? It's Josh Gaiman. How many times have we seen him dominate these races and get in a huge wreck? Wreck himself out, get involved in something he didn't need to get involved in, run himself into the wall. Granted, he's been getting a lot better at that lately, but that was pretty much the theme of his season last year. He would be up front all day long and always got caught up in something, whether it was his fault or not. He just never seemed to find the checkered flag for half the races. He either would win the race or end up on his lid. So it's hard to forget that, at least in the back of your mind as you go on. And that's not a dig on him at all. He's done great today, but it's just, you mentioned these drivers. Once they start pushing, you can see how on the edge they are already. If they push any more, something's bound to give.
Yeah. He's going to be under pressure a lot. Breo's going to pressure him a lot. Those two hate each other a ton. Obviously, teammates there at the front of the field, and Proudfoot pressured him significantly last night. Then you have Rodriguez, who's going to have no chill whatsoever. Josh Sertzi's going to be interesting in his approach. Cole Snyder's still in the top 10, as is Nathan Eastep. A lot of pressure is going to be coming at him, and they've not thrown everything at him so far. That's been very critical. And I think he needs to be aware of that. Like, no one's thrown a lot at him other than Proudfoot. And he can choreograph with Proudfoot. He can't choreograph with anybody else.
The nice thing he's got going for him is that we're going to be restarting with 6 to go on the stage. Another caution would very well end the stage unless we get it right after the green flag flies. He's very well on his way to winning both stages, which is a cool 20 points, a couple playoff points. So even if he does end up having a big mess at the end of the race, he's got a lot of points in his back pocket, provided he wins this stage as well. So he's building himself up so that if he does end up breaking himself down, it's not the end of the world. So strong day nonetheless, but we'll see if he can hang on. 6 to go in stage number 2. Green flag back in the air, and this time Proudfoot sticks with him. Still gets clear and jumps up in front. But watch Jeremy Breo finally gets back into the top 5. It feels like it's been forever. It's been since the start of the race that he was up in the top 5. Now he finds himself in an opportunity to try and get back. Don't count him out yet. Keep in mind, if these drivers should be all okay on fuel by now, but keep in mind there's some drivers that pit earlier on. Caitlin Height still working her way through the field as well. She's up to 16th, so she's trying to get up into 10th and score some points. Granted, she doesn't really need to because she won last week. She's already locked into the chase, but get as many playoff points as you can headed forward into the chase.
12 up bonus points now for some of the drivers that already got a race win. Obviously, Rudy Valentine played spoiler, not a full-time driver, not eligible for the playoffs.
Probably could be if he decided to go full-time. He's in the top 35, but at the moment not chartered.
28's what matters.
Yeah, so he's not in there. He's still in the top 28 actually in the point standings, but he'd need to get a full-time ride if he wanted to, and I just don't think he has that interest. So, but he could. That would be the very Rudy Valentine move, wouldn't it? To just kind of sneak in the back door.
Yeah, he's got offers on the table. I know that.
Yeah, well, why wouldn't he? He's a fantastic little driver. See Zier there, lapped car on the bottom.
That's going to be a bad place to catch lap traffic.
Yeah, it's not really her fault, but just a really unfortunate. She gets down on the apron, which is a smart thing to do, so at least she... Obviously, Lilac, one of the drivers that has a lot of good etiquette with that kind of deal, but very unfortunate. But she currently runs in 33rd and is only one lap off of Shad Slotswear. She's only one lap down. She just went one lap down, so... Still has something to fight for, especially if they keep wrecking like they are. And it looks like they're trying to again out of the final corner there. Is that Henderson that went all the way down to the pit wall almost? We got another one in the wall there. Is that
in the wall? That's like Flores.
Yeah, it looked like Elias Flores just drove up into the wall like he wasn't paying attention there.
Well, I think he was already 3 wide there, and I think he was just trying to give space that didn't exist.
Yeah.
He's trying to be turf curious.
Yeah, there's a wall there. He ran out of room. He doesn't lose any time, really, and isn't going to get any damage. Just one of those kind of, okay moments. And that's, that's exactly how it is in the car, too, when you do that. You're like, okay. I thought I had another foot, but I guess not.
Calculating, turn left now.
Yeah, no kidding. No harm, no foul, just kind of one of those... Well, now I know where the wall's at moments.
And look at Sosi. Obviously, we pivoted back to the front of the field. Sosi's moved up to 3rd place here. And he's just been poised. He's just been quiet. See if he can hustle the 20 at Proudfoot and the 61 at Gaiman here.
The mail always gets delivered. We need to make T-shirts for that, I think. That'd be a good ABN storefront, honestly.
Yeah.
It's top 3 right now. Breo up to 4th. Got a little bit of comfort between him and Nathan Estep currently, but still looking for that little bit of extra speed he had in qualifying to try and go up and fight with these 3. But it has been the head of the field for Josh Gaiman and Proudfoot. Sosi, the new challenger. See Height making her way up through the field. She's about to poke into the top 10. She's 14th now, so she should be able to score a couple points before it's all said and done if she keeps tracking like she is up to 13th now. You saw the Petronas car in the background. Coming to 2 to go in the stage. And again, at this point, a caution would end the stage. So provided Gaiman and Proudfoot don't wipe each other out, very good points day coming together for both of them right now. Which is, with the way this race has been going, that's the best thing you could have right now. As much as I personally am not a fan of stage racing, I can say that when I've done stage racing, nothing feels better than when you come into the race and bank 2 really good stages back to back, especially when you know the end of the race is going to be a crapshoot. Knowing you have that security in the back pocket gives you a lot of confidence and also makes you not so mad if you get wiped out at the end. So, oh, you see there, Gaiman just, I think that was latency, but puff of smoke off the wall there. They're really using everything they have on the racetrack. Gaiman may be struggling just a little bit with tires, but it seems like he's got it more under control than he did last time. Final lap in stage number 2. Also the final lap of the first half. Proudfoot looking pretty content to ride once again. But looking for an opportunity, perhaps, if Gaiman makes a mistake. He's going to be right on top of him. Got a nice exit here. He's got Sosi putting the pressure on, too. Going to give a little bump down the back straightaway down the long pond. And Sosi's going to have a look to the inside for second. Side by side, doesn't look like it's going to work too terribly badly for him, but nothing but air for the 81. But he's going to try and re-attack down into turn number 3. Gets in deep, maybe a little bit of contact. That's what Gaiman wants to see. Sosi really trying to put it to the number 20. A little touch here and there. Gaiman's going to win the stage, but the battle is going to be for second. And Proudfoot's going to hang on. It's Sosi, then Breo, Rodriguez, Hagan, Estep, Snyder, Sasic, and Peach, the top 10. Estep nearly dumped the car, coming to the checkered flag.
Still waiting for the stage caution. There it is. Yeah. Came out really late there.
I think everybody was just trying to catch their breath there. But Josh Gaiman, once again, 2 stage wins tonight. He has led all but 2 laps, which were led by the 17 car on pit strategy. So Gaiman has been dominant thus far tonight, and should end up with most laps led by the time they come into the pit lane. So it'll be another bonus point to the Stepping Stone driver. Congratulations to him on sweeping the stages. We're now officially halfway, 6 cautions in, a pretty caution-filled race today, but good end to the stage there. I'm thinking hopefully things will calm down a little bit and we can get some green flag running in for this final stage.
This is what the doctor ordered.
Mm-hmm. So wait for the field to all catch back up here. There's your stage winners on the right-hand side. Congratulations to them. And pit lane will be open this time around. And Carmen, is it a 2-stop or 1-stop, you thinking, to the end from here? Probably a 1-stop if you can.
It'd be a 1-stop. It should. You can make 20 laps easily.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a 1-stop.
Do you think anybody 10 laps in, if we get a caution, going to try and stretch it? How far? I guess that's the question. We know you can do about 20 laps without too much hassle, but if you really tried to, you know, pull a Saturday night showdown and wring out that Sunoco fuel cell, how much are you thinking these drivers could really get out of it? Because Pocono is a track where you can save a lot of fuel.
If there's a caution, say there's a caution like 5 laps in, right? Or 10 laps in, right? You're not going to see anyone in the front gamble. You're not going to see anyone up front gamble. I think it's going to be anyone that gambles is going to be at the back of the field, and they're going to pray that it's going to keep causing cautions so they can stay out and save some more fuel. That's sort of, I think, how that's going to turn out. No one in the top 10 is going to come in under that circumstance. You're going to want to be a lot closer to 25 to go before you see the leaders come in and try to make a little bit of fuel mileage.
Pit roads get busy. All the leaders headed in. Nobody stays out this time around, except for Lilac Zier, who is probably going to get the wave around. Rayo first pit box, but gaming the first one into his, so this is where the battle's kind of going to be. See, they both drop the jacks at the same time. Gaming gets off and away. Oh, but is he going to win the battle off pit road? I don't think he did. I think he might have just got away with that. I don't know. I would have thought that Proudfoot beat him by about an inch there, but and yeah, he did. He did. So I was right. I thought he did. So Proudfoot beats Gaming out of pit lane and will inherit the race lead for the first time today. Hagen, I think, taking a 2-tire gamble maybe. Or no, he was up there actually. Never mind. Had a really good pit stop. I guess everybody around him had slow stops. He gained a ton of positions. Breo kind of broke even. Sosi, Snyder, etc. Very interesting here as we get ready to go green for the final stage. And we do have one car that has stayed out, but that is Blake Galloway, who will get the wave by, so he will not be holding up the field. Stage is set. And now for the first time tonight, Proudfoot out front. Gaming going to have to race his way to the lead like he did at the initial start. However, I think Proudfoot's a bit stronger of a car than Breo is, so it's going to be a bit harder of a task to pull that off, I do believe.
I think so. It should be pretty difficult, I think. Proudfoot's going to definitely hassle him a little bit. But, I mean, Proudfoot didn't really have an answer for Gaming long run wise, so.
Well, to be fair, it felt like he was kind of hanging around, you know, let's just get to the end of the stage, score some solid points for both of us. He had a lot of opportunities he just didn't decide to take. I wonder if that's gonna, if he's hoping he's gonna get a little bit of that treatment back from Gaming now. Maybe now he'll be the one to jump up out of lane and they'll ride 1-2 until the final round of pit stops and then settle it man on man. But there's only one way to find out, and we'll know in about 2.3 miles.
Hagen being up there, Breo, Sosi, Snyder in the top 6. You're not going to have a lot of time to breathe if you do decide you want it.
Don't count out that 91 machine either. Joel Rodriguez, he's been sitting up front all day long. Katie Height still mired in traffic a little bit. Strategy didn't quite work out the way that she wanted unless she's trying to pull a long game strat. She sits 12th, so trying to work her way back up. Still a pretty strong field, albeit a lot of them in the back half there pretty severely wounded. It's looking like maybe only about 15 cars, probably 10 realistically, that have a chance to win. 15 cars in contention with both pace and damage, so, which is still a lot. 44 laps into this race, but we'll have to see what happens. Pace car will be coming off this time. You see Gary Donaldson slow on the apron back there. I wonder if he's having to let the 17 and William Britton go by. Probably what's going on there. So as they try to sort themselves out back there, we'll get ready to go green once again. 44 laps will be in the books, which means we will have 36 to go at the green flag. Easy one stop if it stays green. Pace car is off. Here we go.
Green flag. Go, go,
Green
go.
flag's in the air. Proudfoot leads us down. Gaming gets a good launch though too. Proudfoot though critically clears, and Gaiman is now under fire from Josh Hagan and Jeremy Barreo. And don't forget about Sosi either. Look at the wiggles
Cars
there.
on the wall. That was Josh Horner that kind of kicked it sideways. So he saved it.
Keeps it going in the right
Phenomenal.
direction. So we stay green for now. As they scrap now. Oh, in the wall goes Josh Sosi. How hard
Pushed
was
a
that
little
hit?
bit hard.
Yeah, it didn't look terminal, but it was pretty significant. We'll see how much damage the 81 has. He definitely lost a ton of momentum at the very least. And Gaiman does hold on over Breo for second place, but it's Proudfoot leading his first green flag lap of the day. How long until you see... Oh, we got another... That's some damage, big damage in the back. Who is that? Is that Santiago? It is. Looks like a tire blew out maybe on the 17. I think he might have had some help, though. And now that debris will fly out of the racing surface, so no caution for debris as far as that goes, but that is a heavily wounded Angel Santiago, and he is going to be done for the day. Looking at the right front of that car, I'm not sure what happened. Let's see if we can go back to that in a minute, but up front, the battle is very hot for the lead.
Someone just had a bit of an expletive on the radio. Not sure who it was.
It's that
See
point
if
of
we
the
can
race.
capture that.
Oh, and now, oh!
Sosi.
Sosi. Holy moly. So
That was wild. He got loose out of 3, and I think he almost tagged the wall at the right
yeah,
rear.
he almost hit the inside wall. It is a good thing they make that a very wide front stretch, because goodness gracious, they're using all of it. It is so tight up front between these four, though. I think Proudfoot, that clean air is so important, but I think Proudfoot is just a tick slower as it stands, because look at how they're all bunched up right now behind one another. This is the part where Gaiman has to be smart. He can't let that, you know, we talked about it earlier. He can't let that get to him, you know. He can't let a stupid mistake happen now. He's got to just play it patient. He thinks he's faster. Wait till the pit stops, make something happen. Otherwise, still a very strong day. He's got Jeremy Breo beating down the back bumper now. So the intensity's up. It's not one-on-one right now. It's about 1-on-4, so.
So you're saying it's free-for-all?
Yeah, pretty much. It is a Grand Theft Auto online lobby in turn number 1.
Yeah.
See there, Breo had to really get out of the throttle there to not get into the back of game, and he got such a good entry and center, but really had to back out of it to not run over game, and that's going to open Hagan up for an opportunity. Hagan desperately searching for a first career win in a points-paying event in anything on ABN. Oh, and Breo gets sideways, and Hagan hits the wall. So you don't think these guys are pushing? They're pushing. Holy cow.
They are pushing as hard as possible.
On board with Cole Snyder from the helmet cam. This is what he is seeing right now from Whitehaven, Pennsylvania. Hear him shifting here, of course, with that 5th gear. Really throws all the things out of whack for what would normally be. See him downshift now to 4th. Might even experiment with 3rd later in the run. Joel Rodriguez in the mirror in his upper right. See him right up there. That's Joel Rodriguez. He's looking out the windshield though at John Hagan. You can see how much he's lifting. Nobody really wants to try to attack right now, but look at Rodriguez pull right up to the back bumper. This is all these things you got to be managing. Oh, by the way, at 180 miles an hour. It's all those little wheel movements, trying to balance, not killing the tire without going too far up the track and hurting your car. Things start to spread out a little bit now. 30 to go next time by. And Gary Donaldson heads into the pit lane. Or maybe that was Pendel. It's one of the cars towards the back. Dipped in. You can see Breo trying maybe. I don't think he tried to make a move. I think he got loose out of the corner. Hagan just kind of patiently. They're all kind of biding their time right now. Gaiman has gotten back to the lead and is starting to pull away a little bit. So I think Proudfoot kind of the cork in the bottle right now in that number 20. A little bobble again from Proudfoot. They're struggling so hard with... It's not like it's just one thing either, Carmen. They are back and forth between being loose, tight, four-wheel slides, plowing. It's just, it is a miserable setup for them today.
They're trying to make it work, though.
Mm-hmm. It's putting on a great show. Height and Sasek dueling right now for the 7th position. Sosi in there as well after he's had some setbacks from that wall contact. He was right up there with the leaders. I'm wondering how much performance might be taken out of that 81 machine. Height not moving through the field probably as quickly as she wanted to. Up to the back of Cole Snyder now though. She's in the top 10. And not far off of the top 5. See them darting around. Rodriguez trying to size up once again. Cole Snyder, or excuse me, John Hagan. This Gaiman leads over Proudfoot, Breo, and Hagan. Hagan again loose out of turn number 1. As they head into turn number 2 now, they will be side by side, and Rodriguez will get that position. So keep an eye on that Project 91 car. Always impresses when he gets to make the show, and he is not wasting the opportunity tonight.
Pretty good job so far, but still a lot of race left. Still a green flag pit stop cycle as things run right now left in this race, and that's where a lot of things can come and go.
Yeah. It's a pretty hard pit lane to get into as well, especially with the way that the way you have to get down to pace or pit road speed from out of turn number 3. It is very tough. Here's a look at the pit strategy stint lengths. Everybody 10 laps in on their tires, obviously, at this point, because they all pit on that last caution, but keep an eye on that. You see Height, who has made several pit stops tonight. That's why she's a bit back. Sosi, likewise, made several stops. You can see the main drivers in the top 6, though, all pitting at the same time. Interesting to see those different strategies, see who works out for whom. So everybody's on the same tires right now.
Lap 54 of 80. Top 3 still under a blanket, but Josh Gaiman holding firm. Bren Roberts down to the white line, all the way to the paint on the front straightaway. Not sure what happened to him.
Might have just got loose, or probably just trying to be super defensive. Things starting to spread out a bit for the first time tonight, really, without a staged break looming. We've seen actual green flag runs starting to form. You love to see it. Gaiman starting to back up a little bit to Proudfoot. I really think Proudfoot's better on the long run.
Oh, and speaking of which.
Yeah.
And I think it's Kevin Gibney Jr.
Well, it's Swatsworth, and it's also Henderson. Swatsworth is finally done. Gibney might have got a piece of that as well, but Henderson and Swatsworth in a lot of bother, and I think Swatsworth is destroyed, and he is not going to get that car back around, I don't think. Well, he's going to try to, but that thing is, well, it's killed. So now here's the interesting thing, Carmen. This is the scenario we were talking about. We're going to go green with about 21, 22 laps to go, if that.
This is an easy number to make.
You can make it from here, but you will have to save a little bit. Swatsworth still crashing as he tries to get that car back home, but he's not going to be able to. No steering.
No steering.
Oh. And, oh, goodness.
Oh, this is going to be interesting. Anderson gets loose, the Swatsworth gets tight.
Well, other way around, I think. Either
Well, I think
Swatsworth got loose on the
wall.
tight. He got loose on the top and came back down, and I'm not sure if it was the 25 of Henderson who got loose or was just running the normal lane, but they came together. I'm not sure where. If is that Denny right behind them? Maybe he got a piece. Or no, Denny's just a touch ahead of that, so it was Peach that would have got a piece of it. By saying that,
and
10
then
times
there's Denny.
fast. Okay, here's another angle. Because, yeah, well, he got so tight that he got loose, Carmen, Swatsworth did, because he ran out of racetrack and he kind of panicked, and he pulls it down off the track. And you can also see how the 25 was starting to move up the track because he was walking the car up the hill. They come together. Great avoidance from everybody in the back there, but at this point, these two are pretty well junked. You can see, whoa, the hospital hop there. I think that was that Denny. Or no, it was Kevin Gibney Jr. That's maybe how he got damaged because he lost it over the jump. And that, yeah, he did find the wall because he, I mean, woohoo. You can see at the angle that he very nearly sent the car upside down. And he will probably get away with that. That's not terrible damage on the 31 car. Not ideal, but could be worse.
Yeah.
And oh, here it is. What did we say at the top of the show, Carmen?
Be interesting.
William Britton
Surprised it's taken this long, to be honest.
playing another bold strategy. I don't know what he's hoping for, but got nothing to lose. He's been at the back most of the day after getting caught up in the big one. He's going to stay out on old tires, throw a little bit of spice into the fire. Rest of the field going to have to save just a little bit to make it, but it shouldn't be too terribly bad. I would say William Britton is going to lead the lap here. I'm not sure if he's going to come back down pit lane or if he's actually going to commit to staying out. He's a bit of a whimsical fellow when it comes to that. Sometimes he does come in, sometimes he stays out. So Sosi won the battle off pit road, and so did Height, who finally gained some positions. How about Selena Thompson playing some strats as well? She pokes her nose now into the top 5. Gaiman and Proudfoot fall to 5th and 6th, respectively. And Hagen and Snyder and Rodriguez. So a lot of strategy play coming in here and shuffling some things around as we get into the final stanza of this race, Carmen.
Absolutely. Going to be a lot of fun seeing how this ends up. Now you're going to see some drivers kind of pushing the envelope a little bit.
William Britton, who has made 6 pit stops today to repair damage at some point. He will commit to staying out. And it looks like he would like to have the outside lane. So this will get spicy. A little bit of shuffling around. Again, they should be able to make it from here pretty handily. If we get another caution, they could definitely make it from here without really having to save too much at all. So it's going to get interesting. But I think that's probably an understatement.
Just a little bit, yeah. Just a smidge.
Well, I'll tell you what, Chooms, if you've had enough of racing tonight, when the checkered flag flies, our very own Carmen Sienna will be broadcasting the brand new Cyberpunk DLC, Phantom Liberty, over on ABN2 instead of a post-race show. I hear it's pretty premium. Might want to stick around and check that out. We'll be rating her on channel number 2, or after the post-race interviews with our podium finishers. And a lot of excitement in the air for that, obviously. The 2.0 update just dropped out. Absolutely fantastic. Probably one of the last major updates to Cyberpunk 2077 as well, at least for the foreseeable future. So it's going to be one you're gonna want to get on. I know you're chomping at the bit to hop out of the booth as soon as possible to go take care of that. So.
I personally can't wait. I've played so much of the new update. But with the 24 laps to go coming too, I think that this is going to be pretty exciting too.
Absolutely. So it'll be William Britton leading us down on old tires, then Sosi, Height, Thompson, Game, and Proudfoot. A lot of new names popping up to the front in the closing stages. Final stage underway, 24 to go. They can all make it from here. Let's see who does. Had a great start from William Britton to really gap the field. That's what he needed to have happen. So they all head off into turn one. How long will that car be able to stand up front? Gonna take about a corner or two for these tires to come up to temp for these newer. Oh, Hagen loses in the middle of the field. Hard hits. Caution's out again, and Hagen. And now they're all wrecking even harder. That's the 005. Gibney Jr.'s in it. That's Roberts. That's the 96 as well. Lehman took a huge hit down the back straightaway, and the caution comes out as soon as the green did, and I think that might mean we might have to take a look at that. It all started when Hagen got loose in the middle of the field, and like we've seen so many times today, just overcorrects and comes straight back into traffic, and well, you're screwed from that point. Could tell as soon as he got out of turn one that car just was not going to hook up on the exit, Carmen.
That was a vicious hit there. And Hagen drifts up from the entire start of that corner, avoids hitting Proudfoot, but it's a Pyrrhic sacrifice at that point.
Yeah, and they clobber each other. Obviously, everybody trying to take evasive action over the bumps. The Gen 7 does not like to do that. This is where this is where it really gets kind of exciting, was when Lehman got turned, and I can't remember who it was, but somebody absolutely drilled him. He was trying to avoid, I think it was Roberts who comes back across. Look at that hit there, and he catches the indentation for the safety vehicle, and Gibney comes back and hits him too. That is a hard hit. You can see how the rear end of the car came off the ground. It kind of showed you everything you needed to know about that. We're right on board with Gibney here, because he's going to have a front row seat for all the melee. Watch the left-hand side here. In the air, comes back across. He picked every right lane and still got involved in it. It closes up so fast here.
It really does. It is so hard to make something happen here when everything's closed. It almost felt like Dover with how quickly everything just kind of stopped moving.
And I got to ask you, we've seen this out of Hagen. He wants so desperately to win. Was falling back a little bit, trying to make some big moves, just kind of lost it underneath Proudfoot, was set back a little bit because of the pit strategies. Do you think that was just a genuine mistake, or was that a little bit of desperation trying to seep through, maybe trying to get a little more than he could chew?
We've seen it multiple times. Like, I don't think it's exclusive to Hagen, but I think because he feels that pressure building, I feel like he is going to be more susceptible to it. And again, it's just one big mistake. All it takes.
And several drivers' days are done just like that. You can see here, it was everybody avoiding and trying to get out of the way. Here's Hunter Peach. He slows down. I think he gets through all this as the melee just... I mean, they're in the left-hand lane, outside, inside, airborne. I mean, when you got cars in the air, you really can't predict very accurately what's going to happen. And if you're somebody like, you know... If you're somebody like Lilac Zero, who's been having a horrible day after what was so promising, you're loving this, because now she's about to poke into the top 20 because so many cars got wounded in that wreck. Britton does decide to pit after leading there, so he got in, led his laps, did what he needed to do, and then got out of the way. The classic William Britton strategy: get in there, get those laps, and get out. It worked
It's
for him.
interesting because there's no bonus points for leading a lap.
Well, it's a pride thing, for sure.
I mean, it's definitely a pride thing. It's just one of those things that's very interesting.
Well, I mean, you saw how slow he was, too, coming out of turn 1. He kind of got saved by that caution. I think he realized that was
Not the play.
that was not going to go any better than it could have gone there. He got his data that he wanted. He got the TV time. He went out front. He led some laps, and now he's got fresher tires than the rest of the field as well, albeit by maybe a lap or two. But, hey, why not? You know, he was already at the tail end of the field. He didn't wreck anybody, didn't cause any big issues, and there you go. So it'll be Sosi and Selena Thompson. The young talent from Alabama. We haven't talked about her a whole lot lately, but she has been putting on a series of mature drives for someone who does not have a lot of experience, considering the fact that she doesn't have a whole lot of life experience. She's very young in the number 10 machine, but she's going to be starting on the front row, and this is starting to be something that she's getting a little more used to and is doing a little more often, Carmen.
Hold on to it though. That's the big critical question, and it's a bedlam being at the front of the field. We just saw one of the front runners just lose it and wreck out.
Yeah, but by virtue of being on that strategy and up front, she avoided the melee. So rather be a slow car at the front than a fast car at the rear. Granted, she doesn't maybe have the pace to win this race. At least we haven't seen it yet, but we know that the Ascent cars have been pretty strong. Several of them on your screen right now. You got Thompson leading the field, and then you have Rodriguez right there. He's been up front all day long. Sasak's been on the periphery of the top 10 for most of the day, and then Flores has been flirting around the top 20. So, and there he is in the background behind Britton. So he's not got too much damage on that car. I think he got involved in the big one, so he's been a little wounded, but he's still rolling around and has some level of pace in that machine. And yeah. It's Sosi that is scored as the leader, so he will get the call on the restart. Height right behind him, and Rodriguez right behind her. So that's a pretty stacked outside lane, especially when you add Jeremy Breo to the outside as well. So very stacked field at this point. And then you got Gaiman and Proudfoot on the inside, tucked up behind Selena. Green flag in the air, 20 to go. Great start from Sosi. Gonna get clear of the field. Height gonna try to get around Thompson here. Thompson struggling a little bit with the handling. You can see Gaiman get right up on the rear diffuser. Gets into her. She does a nice job to save that there. And now we got another one around in the background. Who was that? Can't quite tell. I think it might have been Britton who tagged the inside wall. We stay green. Nobody really went around, just a slide here and there. Good save, though, by Thompson. We've seen a series of amazing saves from her, but immediately gets bumped. Getting bumped and runned at Pocono is not a fun feeling.
No, especially with how slippery this car has been already.
She has fallen outside of the top 10 with that, so shaken but not stirred. Sosi trying to break the draft now from Height and Rodriguez. That is the top three. Have not talked about Height a whole lot in this race. She made a pit stop early, and it did not really work for her. She's finally found her way back to the front of the field when it matters, but how much is in that 11 machine? She has not had top of the line pace. She's had top 5 pace, but the thing about this is the fastest cars in the field are buried in traffic right now. Gaiman now only just now getting clear up to 4th and has some work to do, so this is very much anyone's race between Sosi, Height, Rodriguez, Gaiman, and Breo even, and Proudfoot you could add into that because he's been pretty quick too. Anybody in the top 6 could still win this race, and nobody is expecting a pit stop, so it's all about saving your tires, saving your fuel, and saving your temperament.
There's already the race win at the front of the field.
Yep, both of them looking for their second this year. Rodriguez looking to put on a show and get a win in that 91 machine. Quickly becoming a fan favorite, honestly, with the performances he puts in that 91. But here you can see Gaiman and Breo trying to make some moves with Proudfoot as well. These three have been the front of the field for the first half of this race. Now they're at this challenge. They have to go catch these drivers out front. Can they do it is the question. We know how hard it is to pass. When you're at the very front, that is. That clean air is really important. Oh. They're not helping each other out by doing that, are they? $16 to go. Sosi starting to walk away just a little bit from these two. And all of them starting to walk away a little bit from Gaiman. The gap is 1.7 seconds, but how much of their Goodyear Eagles are they burning through right now? The other question is how much is Gaiman burning through, because we know Gaiman was burning through his tires a lot on those long runs. He was struggling on the long run. You saw right there how much time Sosi lost by just a little mistake. He was about a quarter of a car width out of the groove, had to lift just that little bit extra, and look at how quickly Height and Rodriguez catch up. 15 to go now. Laps clicking away, and it's a completely different scenario than what we thought we were going to be looking at tonight. From a race that had been dominated by Josh Gaiman, he now is in a position where he's going to have to race his way all the way back up from a 1+ second deficit. It's about 2 seconds between him and the leader. Can he do that without burning through those tires? It's going to be hard because he struggled all day with his tires. But one more caution, everybody gets fresh tires and everything turns on its head, so keep that in mind too. We are far from out of the woods. See there, the gap, 1.7 seconds. It's ebbing and flowing a little bit, but it seems to stabilize around that upper 1.5, 2 second range. Sosi so aggressively trying to break the draft. It's not going to work much longer because look how close Rodriguez and Height are. He's starting to realize that and jump back up into traffic. But these three are the ones to watch right now as they continue to try to pull away from Gaiman.
Something's gone. Okay, someone got loose and held up that entire back line. Because they lost a full second.
Yeah.
Like they were they were nose to tail, first 7 cars. I think Gaiman got loose. Either Gaiman got loose or Gaiman and Proudfoot went side by side, and nobody won that transaction because they have let the rest of the top 3. They let the podium go.
Yeah, on the restart, you mean. Yeah, they squabbled with each other to decide who was going to try to get through the field. Because remember, they started a bit deeper than that. They started about 6th or 7th. Was that Rodriguez that just hit the wall a little bit there out of the corner? Yeah,
Rodriguez just tagged it just a little bit. Sosi playing very defensive.
Yeah, that's the most annoying thing in the world if you're Height, too, because it's just, you just want to get your nose in there and let him hook himself. But you know, if you do that, you're going to wipe yourself out, too. It's so frustrating. But it's good gameplay, because if not, you're just going to get all that draft. Height was the fastest as far as top speed goes last lap around. They're all tucked up nose to tail. Oh, wow. You can see her getting a little loose now.
Height just got loose, yeah.
This is that transition point for the tires, so it would not be a surprise. But the question is, how much is Sosi burned through, how much is Gaiman burning through, and how much is Rodriguez burning through? It's just a matter of who can save more tire and who can who can apply the tire when it matters the most. Rodriguez pushing the 11 physically down the front straightaway that time, backed off by the time we changed cameras, but there was contact down the front stretch. They're working together to try and get Sosi. Yeah, no, absolutely. They know. Well, they both know they got to get around Sosi if they're going to start bothering with each other. They got to make it a 3-person fight. But look at this, too. Gaiman, he's just on the periphery here. He just can't quite get enough. It's been at 1.7 seconds for so long. He was gaining a little bit. He got down to 1.6, but it seems like he lost a little bit there. So, and now he's starting to back up that group because now he's been caught once again by Proudfoot and Borreo when he was pulling away from them by about 0.4. So I think we're starting to see the tires fall off on the 61. Quick thing to note, we've got some great picks on the table here. Carmen's pick was Sosi, my pick was Height. They're fighting for the lead right now. The computer thought Gaiman would win. He won the first 2 stages tonight, so don't say we don't know about our drivers.
Right?
Oh, Sosi gets loose, opens the door for Height. A mistake from the 81 of Sosi, and now a huge move from Joel Rodriguez to cross over the 81. Height to the lead with 11 to go. Side by side for second between Sosi and Rodriguez. That's what Height's gonna wanna see. How long can Sosi fight that out before he concedes? Will he concede? Is it worth it to? A mistake from Sosi allowing Height. They're still side by side for second behind her. And will this also allow for Josh Gaiman to try to close the gap as well? Huge opportunity for the 11. And they're still side drafting side by side down the front straightaway. They're practically dooring each other, and Height's already a half second clear. 10 laps to go. Oh my goodness, Rodriguez threw it in deep, and it's gonna work. He clears Sosi, but will Sosi get momentum on the outside? Maybe not, because he's almost hit the wall again. Does he tuck in behind the 91 or try and fight this one out? They need to keep in mind that Height's gonna scoot away if they keep fighting. And Rodriguez knows that. That's why he tried to get in front of Sosi now. 9 to go this time by. Gaiman still in the wings, losing a bit of time right now. They cannot seem to catch these leading three on this latest restart. It has just been these three out of nowhere, seemingly. They were all strong today, Carmen, but I don't think anybody would have predicted these three just pulling away from the field like this in the final stanza. Three drivers we've talked about lightly, but haven't really seen fighting at the front all day today. At least not for the lead. Now all of a sudden find themselves in a three-way fight to try to take home the checkers. Rodriguez looking for his first win. Height and Sosi looking for their second each. Gaiman looking for his first this season if he could get it done. He's won 2 stages today, so still a solid points day, but man, he's gonna be mad if he can't get it done tonight. They've caught back up to Height. Lapped car John Hagen should not be a big problem. Famous last words. 8 laps to go this time by at Pocono.
So much still to play for. This is insane.
24 turns remain. Height thought about trying to get some of the draft off of Hagen, pulls back to the outside. They continue to pull away from Gaiman and Proudfoot, so it is these three. And they do get clear of Hagen. All running slightly different lanes here. Rodriguez maybe getting a bit out of the groove, but trying to carry that momentum down the back. Hagen gets out of the way for the leaders. See Hunter Peach clipping the wall in the background. That's a good battle for 10th going on right now as well. And they are all right on the tailgate of the 11. Looking back now, Rodriguez made a little mistake there though. 7 to go this time by. I would say Rodriguez is the fastest of these three, but Height right now seems to have the advantage on tires. And you can see Rodriguez sliding about now. He's definitely starting to feel, I think he might have overheated those tires just a touch. It's not the end of the world, but he's going to have to keep his wits about him here. And he's going to have to keep his eye in the mirror because he does not need Sosi trying to fight him for position right now. That'd be the last thing he wants. On board now. The rookie sandwiched in between the Daytona 300 winner and series admin for a very long time previously, and a Final Four championship contender, and the winningest driver in HTL. Joel Rodriguez is in good company tonight for a driver who was the second to last transfer on Go or Go Home qualifying. The Ascent Racing Project 91 car, which has stolen the show from Ascent proper ever since it showed up in Daytona for Speed Weeks. And now with a little bit of breathing room back from Josh Sosi, an opportunity to go after Height. Thought about it, but pulled back into line. Time's ticking away though, 6 laps to go. Now the caution comes out.
Oh no.
And that's gonna change everything. And for what, I wonder? Looks like it might have been Hagen, Blowers, yeah. Let's take a look. Oh, Hagen lost it on his own. Did he do it again? Or that? No, that had to be earlier. It was Sharp. It was Lily. Let's see here. Oh, she just got hooked.
Who was that?
I think that was a 96 machine. Another just misjudgment, and she just got absolutely hooked.
Was it an attempt to side draft? Because we saw this last season.
Well,
I said attempt.
yeah. I don't know.
Yeah,
that would be
side by side right now.
I don't know what that was. That was just
clumsy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it is.
Does a brilliant job to keep it off that inside wall, though.
Yeah. Yeah, that could have been a lot worse on so many different levels.
I'm sure a lot of people saw the 8 light up on the leaderboard as the cause of caution and went, oh boy, what happened now? But this was not her fault at all. 96 gets loose, probably a little frustrated. I don't know if he was trying to side draft or just slip in line, but I mean, I don't know how, you can't misjudge that much more than he did, I'm afraid. And that sends Sharp for a slide and turns the race on its lid. Question is, does Height have enough tires to even come in and pit again? Do you come in and pit again? I feel like you'd have to. The tires have been so...
Katie's in the worst position possible because it's whatever she does, no one else will.
Yeah.
If she comes in, everyone else stays out. At least a good point in the top 10 stays out, which is not ideal.
I feel like everyone's going to come in, though. Every time someone stayed out on old tires, we saw how poorly they lasted. I feel like even if you're 10th place with a handful of laps to go, this is a big track. Height stays. I don't think she had enough tires, Carmen. She made that pit stop earlier, but a lot of people decide to stay out. I am shocked by that move. Rodriguez, Snyder, Eastep, Blowers, and I don't think half the field knew what they were going to do coming into the pit lane there. That looked like a little more than fake out. That looked like no one really knew what they wanted. Height was the only one who... Height and Rodriguez were the only two drivers that really had an idea what they wanted to do there. I am shocked by that. Because with how much those new tires have helped and how powerful they have been, I'm surprised more people didn't pit, but I guess that's the mentality. You just wouldn't have enough time to make it up. Couple green-white checkers, though. Watch for that Rodriguez machine, because that's not over. But now this throws Gaiman right back into it, though his tires are pretty well cooked. But Height and Sosi were battling pretty hard. I think Height has the better tires, but watch for Breo and Proudfoot, because they've been sitting behind Gaiman for this whole stint. They could be pretty quick, too.
I hate that I'm going to put this bad vibe on this race. This feels a lot like an overtime finish incoming.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, you got people with old tires in the front. You got people with new tires in the back. They need cautions to make up those to make those tires work. I'm just surprised. I would have thought it would have been a no-brainer.
I've seen this too much, where drivers do not come in late. There's a law of diminishing returns, and they just. I mean, when you have the lead like this, if you get a decent amount of the top 10 to go, especially if you know this top 10 with Height, Sosi, Gaiman, Proudfoot, Breo, Peach, Sasek, and Morris, all of them typically stay out in this situation. The wild card would be Josh Arnold, because we've not seen him in this situation. Lena Thompson is not usually in this situation. She's usually on the flip side of this coin. So
you've got 18.
That's a very interesting situation.
You've got 18 cars on old tires.
Yeah.
Everybody in the top 10, bar Hunter Peach, pit on lap 55. A handful of them pit 4 laps later. You have to look to 19th and 20th for the first set of fresh tires, which means that staying out was probably the better call. But I'm floored. Unless they just didn't have an extra set, which I think in Height's case, I don't think she had the extra set of tires because she made so many pit stops today.
So wait, she's made 4.
She's made 4.
So she had a couple extra sets.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at that data, she had a couple extra sets. She just didn't want to use them and didn't want to give up the track position. And ultimately, very good decision because
yeah, it worked out for her. I
have a deep feeling if you pit on that last restart, you're not winning this race.
That's fair. But I'll tell you what, I really would have. I agree, 100%. I still can't get over the fact that it looked like everybody was coming in, and then everybody decided to stay out. That was a crazy move there. It's not unheard of, but with how bad old tires have been, it just seemed like it was a no-brainer, but hey, that's why I'm in the booth. Oh, and Carmen, you ever seen a natural green-white checkered before?
Way too much this year for my liking.
They should all have fuel, considering that they were only on the cusp. They pit on 55, so they had 25 laps of fuel to go. They should be safe with the cautions. There's been a handful of cautions, but I don't think they would have stayed out if none of them were going to make it, but we'll see if they have enough. They should have enough for a green-white checkered, but we'll find out if we need one. I have a feeling we might. Sosi, Height, Gaiman, Proudfoot, Breo, or maybe somebody out of the pack. Pace car is off.
Green flag, let's go.
And we are racing once again. 2 laps to go in the Tig Strong 200. Great start from Height. That's what she needed. Oh, and Gaiman really tried to send it in there on Sosi and gets turned for it. We talked about it time and time again, and now the caution's out. Oh.
Is that Sosi or Proudfoot?
It's Proudfoot.
There you go.
That got involved there, and that's exactly what Gaiman didn't need to do. That's what we talked about. He gets in these situations. He's got everything laid out in front of him for a perfect day, and if he's not going to win, he's going to have a great day, and he just is his own worst enemy. He didn't need to do that.
This restart, yeah, he just way too overambitious there. And I get it because, like, you're trying.
Well, he saw an opportunity.
While the tires are cold, this is the best opportunity to make something happen.
But watch here, I mean, he just sends it in so deep. The opportunity wasn't quite there. He almost turned Sosi, and then he gets clipped by Breo. So it really wasn't his fault, but he lost so much momentum there.
And with 2 laps to go, Breo knows that, like, if Gaiman's going to give him that window, he's going to take it.
The hole that Breo just went for was no different from the hole that Gaiman just tried to fill. The only difference was that there was another inch of overlap. And they aren't killed, but he's lost so many positions from that. And we talked about it's a good thing he's got all that extra points from how well he did today, but he could have had a brilliant day in the points. And now he's outside of the top 10. I'm trying to see how far he's outside of the top 20. He's outside of the top 30 almost. He's down in 28th right now. He's thrown away a great top 5 finish and a brilliant day of won both stages. Trying to go for second, which fair. If he had second, he could have had a shot to go for Katie, but I don't know. That's one of those Gaiman moves that we see every once in a while, and it's just, man.
Pretty.
A little patience goes a long way. But you can understand that frustration. He's been dominating. All of a sudden, he's just not there anymore. He has this opportunity to make a last gasp attempt. He goes for it, and he wrecks. If it would have stuck, it would have been the best move, but it didn't stick. And
you said the amazing thing at the start of this race. Who is Josh Gaiman's worst enemy?
Josh Gaiman, 100%.
Uh-huh.
And here's the other thing too, right? You have to race the track. You need to race the racetrack. He was racing everybody else, and he got all off-centered. Granted, at this point, you are racing other people directly, but he got so out of sync with that dive into turn 1 that he didn't wreck because he and Sosi got in the corner deep. It was because he had checked up so hard, and Breo tried to fill a hole because he was staggered through lanes, and he's going to say, well, Breo got into me and this and that. And yeah, Breo could have lifted, but at the same respect, Gaiman did not need to try to go for that gap. All of that could have been avoided from everybody. And now what do you do if you're Sosi? Because now you might have a little bit of damage on the back of the car. Now you've got Breo, who we already know is not going to stop for you. You've got Proudfoot. How about Hunter Peach? Up 32 positions. Sitting 5th right now. Got Josh Arnold in the top 10. Connor Morse, the youngest driver in HTL, sitting 7th. Eli Sasek, Selena Thompson, the other younger driver. Kevin Gibney Jr., after the wild day he's had, he sits in the top 10.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot that's going to go down in the next 5 minutes. And it's going to be exciting, but it's just a matter of for what reason, I feel. Oh, by the way, for the Lilac Zero fans, you saw her coming out of the pit lane. She is in 28th position, 1 lap down. So the damage kind of got the best over there. She is fighting with John Hagan for 27th, though, and for the lucky dog should we have another crash.
Yeah.
Gaiman is the last car on the lead lap after an attempt to try to go for the second place position, which would have maybe set him up for a shot to go for the win. Keep an eye on Joel Rodriguez. He never really had a chance to make those tires work, but he's moved up a couple positions anyway. He's going to probably have a good shot at the top 10 still. He sits in 18th right now. And as we get ready for the first proper green-white checker to the night, we got a lot of wild cards here. You look at the days that some of these drivers have had in the lower half of the top 10 to be back in this position. Hell, half of them were in the big one. And now they're back here with a great position, great opportunity for a really good day. And if they keep wrecking up front for the lead here, they could walk away with a first-time winner that we would have never predicted in a long time. Not sure what happened there. Pulled out of and then back into line, Joel Rodriguez did. I guess he's okay, though. Thought maybe he was somehow running out of fuel despite making the pit stop. We'll have to keep an eye on that, too. But the pace car, once again, for the 10th time tonight, will take the hard left turn. And we will try once again. Green-white checkered. It's overtime at Pocono. Heighton, Breo, and Sosi lead us down. And Breo got an excellent restart. Oh, but he didn't get through the gear as well. Did not get through the gear the way that he wanted to, but he's going to get a good T1. Do they make it back is the other question. It's Height ahead of the field at the moment, but how long will it stay that way? You can see her trying to shuffle around to break the draft. Proudfoot's here. Here comes Hunter Peach in 5th position. He hasn't won since the season finale last year. He'd love to get one tonight. Out of turn number 2. Will they make it back is the bigger question here. It's Height, Breo, and Sosi. Proudfoot maybe having a look for 3rd. Caution! They do not make it. And it's Donaldson.
Was wondering if that'd be the case.
And now fuel does start to be a bit of a concern. Oh, it was Sharp and Donaldson here. Let's take a look from the chopper view. See if it was a chicken or the egg kind of situation. Donaldson very far off the pace here just a little bit. Oh, the 96. Oh, he checked up and then, I don't know. That was kind of a strange one. Surprised that drew a caution. Oh, that's where the caution would have came out. I was going to say they weren't technically backwards. Usually iRacing doesn't throw the yellows for that, but I think once Sharp finished him off, that's where that one happened. Okay, so this gives us a little more context. The 96 car absolutely sends it down into the corner. Oh, well. So when he makes that big move, he's gonna, it's kind of the same thing we saw with Gaiman, where now you're so off line and you're checking up in such an awkward way, but you have to take that run. It's such a big run. But look how he slides up now, he gets to the back of the 13. Now everybody kind of gets staggered, and I don't really know what happened, how the 22 and the 8 came together, but one way or another they did in the checkup, and around goes Donaldson. So unfortunate for him.
Yeah.
And really unfortunate for the leaders, because they were sure they were going to get to the line, and look, they cannot make it on fuel. Here comes everybody into the pit lane. So yeah, they had enough for 1, they didn't have enough for 2, and this is going to throw yet another wrench in the plans of the night. Sosi stays out, Breo stays out, Peach, Roberts, Apperson, and once again, Joel Rodriguez is in the play because now he's up to 8th. So now he looks like the smartest one here. So nobody was going to make it there, but Breo and Sosi are going to chance it. They think they can make it. Very interesting. But they also pit, Breo and Sosi pit on the same lap that most of the cars that just pit did. Peach is the only one, and he only pit a lap later, so he's only kind of safe. I would say you'd have to go down to Roberts to know that you're safe for sure, or Gibney or Rodriguez. We don't know for sure that these guys are safe, and you can see by the way that they're kind of coasting around. I don't know that they have. Yeah, look, on board with Breo right now. Look, revs are gone. They are in extreme fuel save mode trying to get around here. As if this race didn't have enough twists and turns.
Yeah,
One
we
more
need a little
thing.
more excitement.
Yeah. Unlimited green-white checkers, should we need them. Listen to Sosi here, he's rolling around in 5th gear, but he's not quite clutch coasting as aggressively as Breo does, so I think maybe he thinks he's a bit safer. Peach feels like he's safe. I would agree with that. Breo, or Roberts is safe. Apperson, you hear him chirping it a little bit. He's trying to save fuel where he can. Gibney's trying to save. Henderson's trying to save. Some of them are just
Everyone's
clutch
trying to say
coasting.
something.
Yeah, some of them are just clutch coasting, while some of them are clutching and turning the car off to save the maximum amount of fuel. Like you see Breo here, the car is completely off. So he is really trying to go for it. This is falling into Joel Rodriguez's hands, I would say, provided that some of these drivers cannot make it. Because now he's in a position to go for a podium, I would say, because he's got really fresh tires. He doesn't have to worry about fuel. It didn't work out for him if the race went to regulation, but he was relying on green-white checkers, and that's what happened. Now you got Height, Proudfoot, everybody back there on fresh tires, but they are now out of contention unless we get a series of cautions, which could be them. And Josh Gaiman is up there as well in 16th after his incident. And Hunter Peach, oh no, okay, he's back now. He blinked out for a solid 3 or 4 seconds, and that would have been disastrous for someone who has a really good shot to win this thing, because he looked racy on that last restart, Carmen.
Yeah. Yeah, he did. He looked fantastic in that last restart. And this is going to be very interesting, because I put Peach on my list, and I was like, maybe Peach shouldn't be on this list. Yeah, he should be.
Fun fact, by the way, Jeremy Breo, first lap he's led tonight, despite being the pole sitter.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Took him all race to get back to the front, but here he is. Does he have enough Sunoco race fuel? Do they all have enough Sunoco race fuel? Look at Apperson backing up the field. He may not have enough. This is going to stagger the restart, and that's going to make drivers, that's the worst thing you can do to drivers. Apperson tries to pull up here. Pace car pulls off. Will this be the final restart, or will we have another extravaganza? Green flag in the air. We'll try it again. Breo gets a good launch. Sosi's got to run. Both the #1 cars up front. The oh! Rodriguez gets turned and he can't hang on to it this time. We're going to have another green-white checker most likely. No, they all saved it.
Somehow.
I don't know how. And now they're side by side for the lead. Sosi and Breo. Now
There
the
it is.
caution's out. For what? They had it saved and then they had it lost. What happened? Looked like it might have been actually Connor Morse. Oh yeah, Connor Morse got dumped. Or dumped himself. Let's see what happened here. I guess they were all scattering the... Oh. Nope, he dumped himself. He hit the bump. Oh my goodness, he clobbers Alfred Denny. And now this changes things all over again, because now I don't know that Breo and Sosi and co can make it at all. Hunter Peach is in the catbird seat, but he's only got 1 extra lap of fuel. I mean, at this point, tell you what, Carmen, I give up. It's anybody's race at this point. There's no telling what's going to happen, but we're, what, 3 green-white checkers deep now. And we'll see if they have enough fuel or not. If they were close now, they are not going to make it now. That's a bummer for Rodriguez, who did a nice job to save that race car, but now, once again, as quickly as he was thrown back into the midst, he's now out of the race, as far as contention goes. But who knows, the way things are cycling around. Josh Gaiman back up to 12th, by the way.
That's wild.
Yeah. Listen how quiet it is. It's eerie.
A lot of anger. A lot of anger on this side of the booth. Not because of me. I think this race is definitely by far, I think what we were kind of expecting with 36 cars when we got to Pocono. But the drivers themselves, the tempers, as you mentioned, are going to go up.
Oh, some of them can't make it. Sosi's in, Roberts is in, Henderson.
Wow.
Yeah, they just couldn't make it. Breo trying to do the ultimate stretch, though, which I don't know that he can, but he seems confident that he can.
This is wild.
Gaiman pits again, which I find interesting, because he was in a really good position. I don't... Oh, look at the 91 car parked sideways there. Rodriguez getting some work done at a really strange angle. So now it's Breo, Peach, Gibney, Snyder, William Britton, Nathan Estep, Ryan Pinnell, Josh Arnold, Brandon Proudfoot has cycled back. Then it's Sasek and Flores and Thompson, all the Ascent cars lined up line astern. Then it's Boone and Zier, that's right, Lilac Zier running 14th. Lily Pelletier Sharp, Gary Donaldson, Alfred Denny, John Hagan, Josh Sosi, Josh Gaiman, Bobby Blowers, Bren Roberts, Blake Henderson, Apperson, Morse, Millsap, Rodriguez. Oh my gosh. And I believe, have we lost height from this race? I think we have.
Yeah, she is done. That is a retirement because of obviously other commitments.
Well, that's a shame too, because she probably would be back around the top 10 by now.
Yeah.
I just don't know that Breo is going to be able to make it. He's going to have to save under green still, I think. He's saving like he needs to, but I don't know. That is asking an awful lot. What a wacky race. Yeah, 34 laps Breo has stretched. 33 laps Peach has stretched. That is by far the longest. That's almost half the race. It'll be about 3 laps shy of a half race distance, which is well beyond what we expected.
Yeah.
To be able to do. Arnold and Proudfoot could only go 29 before they had to box. So, yeah, I don't know.
This has flipped the entire field upside down.
Well, yeah, because you have everybody in the field here, but you don't know if they're going to make it or not either. So it's just a total crapshoot.
To kind of put things in comparison in perspective here with how the last race here at Pocono went, we had 10 cautions. We're at 12 right now. 16 lead changes. I think we're probably about to blow that out of the water, I think, with how things have gone pit stop-wise. Yeah, this is just a wild race. A couple more cautions, but obviously now we're extending deep into the overtime that we have, and there's unlimited overtime yellows, so we could be here for a little bit.
And I gotta guarantee you that there's gonna be a lot of talk about whether or not there should be unlimited green-white checkers at this point after tonight. This is probably one of the first times we've gotten this deep in. This is our 4th or 5th attempt now. Well, we'll see.
Pretty. For everyone tuning in, we appreciate you spending your evening with us. We'll be live on ABN Esports 2 here after this race for Phantom Liberty, the Cyberpunk 2077 expansion.
Green flag once again. Can we make it this time? Peach and Braille on very low fuel. Lots of cars on fresh tires going to try to take advantage. Caution again. And it's Gaming, Swatsworth, Blowers.
And that is deep in
Hagen.
the field. That is very deep in the field.
Donaldson's destroyed. Well, at least we get a raise tonight. Oh, goodness. What now? Oh, Gaiman just got into the back of the 22 going into turn 1, and that hooks Hagen straight up the track, clobbers Blowers, gets Henderson in it. I think Connor Moore sneaks through. Swatsworth not so lucky. Apperson's in it.
Yeah. There's
the 1B
Roberts.
car as well of Roberts, yeah. 005 slides in there. We gotta back this up more. There's gotta be more context, but it seems to me...
And Gaiman just sends it.
Same thing he did earlier.
Yeah, just sends it in. And this one is not even...
Well...
There's even less excuse.
Well...
Donaldson's trying to get out of the
Donaldson backed
situation.
out of a 3 wide. He did lift incredibly early, so I wouldn't point the finger quite so aggressively, considering the fact that that's a last lap kind of thing. You're lifting... I don't know. I am
still wrecking for last.
And at this point, Breo's got an extra fuel cell or something. Him and Peach both, if they don't pit this time. I feel like the way that they're accelerating up to the pace car, I feel like they are both pitting this time, and they do.
Yeah.
They can't make it. I don't think that they were going to make it even if it was green. And Gibney and Britton can't either. So now it's Snyder and Estep, Arnold and Pinnell, with Elias Flores for company, Proudfoot, Sasic, Boone, Thompson, Sharp, Zier. Yes, Zier, who was 2 laps down at one point, took 2 very heavy impacts, was a 1 lap down on the final restart of regulation, now in 28th place, now finds herself in 11th. Beaten all to pieces and just surviving her way into potentially a top 10 finish. I'm lost for words when it comes to this. Cole Snyder, we're at the point, Carmen, where we're about to run out of daylight too. This is going to be, if we get another 1 or 2 cautions, that's going to be a genuine concern. Because the shadows are not really shadows anymore. They're just... It's all bathed in shadow. We're running out of time, to put it lightly. You can see how low the sun is. We are running out of daylight. Yeah, look how low the sun is.
Yeah, drivers are talking about it.
Cole Snyder, who triggered the big one, what seems an eternity ago, finds himself at the front. Nathan Estep, former Daytona 300 winner, on his side with Josh Arnold and Ryan Pinnell and Elias Flores. I'll tell you what, the Ascent team traded in an excellent day for Rodriguez for a brilliant day for all 3 of their main cars.
Yeah.
But now the question is, how much fuel do these guys all have? How long can they go? You know?
Let's look at the numbers here. What numbers do we have? They last pit on lap 7. Well, the front 2 on lap 76.
They'll be okay. Yeah, they're 17 laps in.
That should be good.
We're at the point now where I think everybody has cycled through a pit stop.
I don't know if that's good or bad.
It's terrible. Well, it's terrible for the product, but it's good because money. But yeah, just keep an eye on Arnold because he, Flores, Proudfoot, Sasick, and Thompson. Basically, Arnold plus Ascent and Proudfoot all have fresher tires by a lot. Granted, almost all of these 17 laps have been under caution, but all of those 9 laps have been under caution, so they have basically completely fresh tires. So if we
They're
can...
also ice cold.
Yeah, but everybody's are, to be fair. So if we could get a half a lap of green flag, we may have a race. Maybe. Check out Matthew Boone up there as well. He's still floating around after a wild day he's had.
Yeah. Been a very wild day for him.
Peltier Sharp, who's involved in a caution not more than 2 cautions ago, is in the top 10 potential. Sosi, who's been one of the dominant cars today, in 13th. And Gaiman is now off of the lead lap by a couple of laps, so his day is now officially not going to be ending in victory lane. Hunter Peach, who almost had a shot at it, now runs 21st after having to make a pit stop along with Gibney and others. 5th time's the charm? Maybe?
I'm not holding my breath.
At this point, we're never going to play Phantom Liberty. Pace car's off! On board with Snyder, he gets on it. No more fuel concerns for the field at this point. It's just, can they make it? Josh Arnold in the 55, out of nowhere, is at a potential position to win this race if he plays his cards right. Do they make it back, and do we have enough daylight to complete this race if they don't? Oh, there goes the 2. Hard into the inside wall.
Is that going to be a caution?
Not yet.
No, not yet. But they're 4 wide. Apperson, Morris, Breo. There's contact. There we go. And that is huge.
That's a big wreck. Apperson nailed the wall. Henderson is destroyed. Gibney is destroyed. And Jesus Christ, guys. That might be the race. If not, it's on the cusp. Because there's the sun, and the tree line is right there. I think this will set a record for most green-white checkers. Gibney's destroyed. I'd say we'll have a look at it, but at this point, I don't know that it even matters. What was such a brilliant race early on has turned to a mess in a matter of 10 laps.
This feels way too much like Daytona last year.
Yeah.
The Firecracker, I should say. The Firecracker 200, where we had 2 cautions the entire regular race, and then
It just
we had
evolved
5.
into lunacy, yeah.
Yeah. This is what we're kind of looking at right now.
So I'm trying to find where the 2-car Pinell. Here, he loses it here. He hits the inside wall. He does the right thing. He stays off the track. He did everything right, yeah. But that checked everybody up. And when you check everybody up, Connor Morris and Breo get together. Breo gets away with it, as does Roberts, but not so lucky for this lot. And, yeah.
Person just completely jumped.
Yeah. Not to take away from the day that Cole Snyder and Josh Arnold and the top 10 have had. They've survived and did what they needed to do. But yeah, you're just kind of running out of patience, and you see more people. Peltier Sharp has to pit, Boone has to pit, Morse had damage. So we still have some drivers towards the back who are running out of gas again, which is baffling. And yeah, the daylight situation is not great. It is. It's been an event. It's days like these you wish you could remember the race for the first 75 laps, but that's not how we're there. The pace car has just shedded debris and hit debris on the track, so that's a fun one. This is one of those races where you really wish you could remember it for the first 75 laps and what that was, but...
And just tune it off.
And then turn it off, but unfortunately that's not how this works. There's going to be a lot of deliberation. There's going to be a lot of frustration.
For a lot of the sports fans, and I know that, Chrissy, this will go over your head, this is like the first 5 minutes of the Broncos-Dolphins game last night. And then, like, that's what the first half of this race was like, was the first 5 minutes of that game. And now we've entered the blowout stage. For those that aren't aware or those that don't follow, worst game in NFL history, Dolphins beat the Broncos 70-20, which is horrible. But this feels like the ending of that.
Snyder,
this feels like the ending of that. It feels bad.
Snyder
it feels horrible.
Saving fuel, which I...
Hey, I'm not going to ask questions because I don't think I'm ready for the answer.
I don't think anyone is. And Mother Nature isn't either. She's had about enough. You can see how dark it is becoming to get here at the Speedway. I don't think we've ever had a situation where a race has ended in HTL.
Yes, actually, for a fact, yes, we have.
I am in disbelief, shock, and awe. The fact that could happen more than once is alarming.
Rockingham.
I don't know that it's ever happened on ABN. I'll say that.
No, it's not. It is not.
It is amazing to me that we A, haven't ran out of cars, and B, well, that's kind of it. The only lighting that this track has is that from the Ford Mustang pace car that you see there. And while it is not dire straits for visibility, it is far from good. This is what it looks like right now through the cockpit of Cole Snyder. And if you're in the middle of the pack, this is what the visibility looks like if you're Jeremy Breo, who is running in 11th. It is not ideal. And then the track temps are now getting into a position that the setup was not designed for. A lot of cars are wounded. You can see the sun's not even peaking anymore. It is setting. We are losing daylight. So that's, yeah.
Yeah, there's not a lot left we can say. There really isn't.
No.
We're just hoping that we get to see this. I think we're ending this. I think this is. I don't know if this is the last restart or the next last restart attempt that they're going to allow.
I think this would have to be.
I'm hearing conversation. I just don't know what direction they're going on race control.
Which quite
pace car pulls in. So here we go.
To get to that point, it's a bit silly, but Cole Snyder takes us to the green. 2 laps to go. We've been on 2 laps to go for about an hour and a half now, but we'll get there eventually, I hope. Proudfoot and Arnold. Watch Proudfoot, actually, because he's got some pace in that car yet. Arnold not able to stick it. Yeah, couldn't quite stick the lane.
Okay, we made it through turn 1. Can we make it through 2?
Nope. You'd hope. They're getting squirrely back there, but I think we might just make it this time. Snyder with about 2 car lengths over Brandon Proudfoot, who is going to be gunning for him. And is going to make a big move to the inside, so we may still get a bit of a race here yet. Coming to the white flag. I don't see any crashes yet. The lights are green. The flag is up. Finally, we are at the white flag. Now, what happens here is the part we'll want to keep an eye on. Snyder, Proudfoot, and maybe Sasek if they wipe each other out, which is a very strong possibility.
Arnold couldn't hold on to that inside lane. Sosi goes through. That's for 4th.
I don't think Proudfoot's going to have quite enough unless he sends a real big move down into turn number 3. Oh, he's hit the wall a little bit there going into 2, but he's got it hooked up somehow. He's absolutely going to go for it.
He's going to smack
the wall.
the wall.
He went for everything, and it's not going to work. It's going to open him up now to Sasic. But it's not going to be enough. Cole Snyder is going to come out of turn 3 to win a wacky race at the Tricky Triangle. Proudfoot is just about going to hang on to second. Sasic, Sosi, Arnold, E-Step, Flores, Thompson, Denny, Roberts, the top 10. And I'll tell you what, I doubt we even get any interviews because I'm sure drivers are going to be livid. We'll see if we can talk to Cole Snyder at least. But Carmen, I would bet about my entire paycheck that everyone's going to want to get on the bus and get the hell out of here. But congratulations to Cole Snyder. He is your race winner. First career win from Whitehaven, Pennsylvania. Well done to him. Not to take away from the day he's had. He's had a brilliant day. He had that issue, that misjudgment that sparked the big one, but he's worked back from that ever since that moment and put himself in position to do what he needed to do. So, from the bottom of our hearts at AB, he's just been... Yeah, I've... Carmen, you're gonna have to take this one. I can't. Congrats, Cole Snyder. You've kept it mostly clean and get junked at the checkers for... I don't know why. Congratulations on your win. Congratulations to Proudfoot, Sasic, Sosi, Arnold, E-Step, Flores, Thompson, Denny, and Roberts on the top 10. Especially to those Ascent bunch. They've done a very nice job. Especially from not having a whole lot of pace early on to really having a lot of pace at the end. Your ABN winning moment has finally came for Cole Snyder. And Carmen, are we getting any word on if we're having any interviews or not?
We're gonna try to.
I think
I was gonna be trying to debrief here because obviously, like, I've got to get stuff ready for Avian too, and obviously we got Sasic's gonna be jumping in here. He's third place finisher. I guess we'll start with him. We'll try to keep it brief here because there's going to be a lot to discuss, and I think a lot of teams are going to be trying to debrief here. Everyone's already jumping around trying to debrief and have conversations here. So we're going to try to keep things brief because there's going to be a lot to sort of rally about in this race. We'll start with Eli Sasic, though.
Eli, this is Kristina and Carmen of the ABM booth. You have a copy?
Yes, I do.
Well, not much to say about that race, honestly. That would be on a positive outlook, but you did have a great day at Ascent. Your team did a very nice job. You've got everybody bar the 91 who had a great day going at the start into the top 10. A solid P3 for you. After a day like today, can't complain with that, can you?
No, absolutely. It was a great race, I think, all around from Ascent. Joel did a fantastic job until he got wrecked out or wrecked himself out. I don't quite know. Wrecked out. And Selena did very well, and so did Elias. It's a very good day. I was hoping they would wreck there on the final lap, but I mean, I'll still take a third place for the day. It was very good, and I'm just very happy for everybody involved.
Yeah, absolutely. Gonna try and keep it brief since we're running quite late, and obviously I'm sure you'd want to go de-stress and debrief with your team. So if there's anybody you want to shout out, now would be the time to do it. If not, congrats on a well-earned survival for P3, Eli.
First of all, my grandparents are probably watching right now and telling me I have to get to bed because I have work. I have to wake up at 5. But everybody at Ascent, Selena, Elias, Joel, everybody did really well. I think we learned a lot as well for next week and for the future of the season. So I'm just excited for the rest of the season. Another top 10. So very good from us.
All right, well, congratulations, Eli. Good job on a P3 and a good job on most of your team getting to the checkered flag in the top 10. Great day for you and the team.
Thank you.
Moving along now, we'll have a word with Brandon Proudfoot, P2 finisher. Brandon, this is Kristina and Carmen in the ABM booth. You got a copy?
I do.
Well, probably could have expected you to finish second place, but probably not like that. Walk us through what was an interesting finish to the race for you.
Very interesting. It was honestly roulette on who was finishing where at the end with all the caution. I'm just gonna keep it short and sweet because all of us go to sleep. But yeah, it was chaotic. Me and Josh, I think, controlled the beginning of the race relatively well. Felt confident pretty much the whole night. Was really happy with qualifying efforts. Everybody over at Stepping Stone all did a very good job collectively qualifying, and we had a pretty sound strategy figured out, which with all the cautions didn't end up working. And then it was roulette on who took how much fuel and when for track position there at the end. And thank God we got the white.
Yeah, I think that was the one thing that everybody was happy to see. Of course, you still had a good effort, and things kind of bounced back to sort you out with a good finish in a top 3. Of course, probably wanted to try and go for the win, and you were definitely going for it at the end there. Nearly cost you third, but good effort and a good P2. If there's anybody you want to shout out, now would be the time to do it. If not, we'll let you go to sleep.
Yeah, everybody over at Stepping Stone, Blake and everybody in the background here in HTL doing the stuff they do, and then you guys here with ABN for doing the broadcast at 11:30 on a Monday of all things. Again, short and sweet. Let's get on to the next one, and we'll see you all next week at hopefully less caution. Have a good night, everybody.
Couldn't say it better myself. Congrats, Brandon, on a P2, and a good effort all around throughout most of the day. Now I'll have a quick word with our race winner, Cole Snyder. Cole, this is Kristina and Carmen in the ABM booth. Do you have a copy?
I do.
Well, not to take away from what's happened tonight. You still had a great run, great effort, and put it in victory lane. It was an up and down day for you, and you ended up on top. Walk us through the event for you.
First, want to apologize for there was a wreck in the beginning. I want to say stage 2. I think we went 3 wide, and someone got hooked across the nose and caused an accident. And I'm not sure who it was, but I'm sorry about that. That happened. Not intentional at all. But just what a race. This is the home track. I live about 20 minutes from it, so these are always my go-to races that I practice for and try to finish good. And it's finally got me a league win here. Just happy the moon didn't come out there because it was getting dark.
Yeah, it definitely was getting touch and go there. You about won the race on count back, but yeah, no, ever since that mistake in stage 2, you did nice to bounce back. You avoided all the other calamity, and you ended up at the front when it mattered. So that cannot, despite the event that this was, does not take anything away from the effort you did. Fantastic job and a very well-earned first career win. If there's anybody you want to shout out, now would be the time to do it. Otherwise, congrats on your first career HTL win and doing it at home.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Shout out to you guys for broadcasting all this, Blake for running this league, all the admins, my teammates, Coast to Coast Racing, team owner Zachary Meredith putting me in the car. We got Jake Millsap, Josh Arnold, he's a friend. Nathan Lehman came in to fill in. Just all around, this is an all around team win. We all worked together. We all tried to help each other when we could, and it just feels good. Feels good to finally get a dub.
All right, well, that'll do it. Congrats, Cole. Enjoy the victory, and we'll see you next week.
Hey, appreciate it. Thank you.
So, it was a event at Pocono. Of course, congratulations to the top 3. No flack really their way. They did what they had to do and survived at the end. It was definitely an event, Carmen, and we're just going to very quickly sort through the race results and get us on our way over to ABN2, where we have a program alert there for Phantom Liberty, which, despite the goofiness and silliness there, I'm thinking somehow it's not gonna beat this.
No, I don't think so in the slightest. I think this was... I said this was going to be pretty exciting. I think we kind of jinxed ourselves on that one, but Cole Snyder capitalizing to get his first career win in HTL competition. there for Coast to Coast. Brandon Proudfoot in second. It's always these races he shines out the hardest on. He won Gateway, and he finished second tonight. So he thrives on Cass a little bit, I want to say, there on that one.
Absolutely.
Eli Sasek running up the podium. Josh Sosi, my pick to win, came so close to doing it in fourth. Again, all of our picks to really try to win this race ended up falling flat. Caitlin had to leave early, retire the car there for them the order. But Josh Arnold, another top 5, really good result. But this flips the point standings upside down, essentially, in a very competitive, really top half of this field.
Yeah, that'll be probably the one fun takeaway from this, is that the points are completely upside down now. But yeah, great run for Josh Arnold. These days where chaos reigns supreme, it is still a great day for the little guys that usually aren't up front. E-Step had a great effort today. Elias Flores did a great job as well. Selena Thompson, not enough can be said about the entire Ascent crew. They did a great job tonight, and I know that 91 car would be right up there with him if it wasn't for getting caught up in a wreck towards the end. Alfred Denny and Bren Roberts round out the top 10 with Breo, Pelletier, Sharp, William Britton, Boone, Zier, of all people, coming home with the top 15, still riding that momentum despite having a miserable day, making the most of a bad situation. Hunter Peach, Bobby Blowers, Connor Morse, Millsap, and Henderson, the top 20. Just gonna scoot through and get to the tail end of this here. 21st is Blake Galloway, then it's Pinnell, Gibney, Apperson, Donaldson, Gaiman, Hagen, Rodriguez, Height, Swatsworth, Santiago, Lehman, Pendel, Moutre, Whitlock, and John Adams, who probably had the best race of anybody tonight, considering the fact that he was out 87 laps ago, which, by the way, the race was scheduled for 80. That tells you how things went. But with that, we're going to wrap things up here. You can see the moon rising in the distance. The nightfall has befallen Pocono and something Night City. We're going to be rating ABN 2. Carmen's going to be giving us a walkthrough of the new Cyberpunk DLC. With that being said, thanks for sticking around, everybody. We appreciate all your support, and we'll see you next time out. Yeah, on behalf of everybody at ABN, I'm Kristina Ryan, and Carmen Sienna alongside me. Go follow her over on ABN 2, and we'll see you next week. Take care.